All right. Okay, let's get this stream started, guys. We are live. Hope you guys did see some of the replays. Just to give you a sneak peek of what's going to happen when the cards come out in Master Duel. So obviously you'll be mainly running it with obviously older decks, but you'll see tomorrow also Sharks and Pure Mermail is just as good also. But I think you'll see just how broken it is just in general. So I think it's really needed. And like I said, it's not a copium or anything. It's actually a thing that actually can actually do pretty well. And I literally have more replays in that. Like I said, I've been playing literally ever since the cards were literally announced. I've just been playing it non-stop, trying to find the best way to improve it and trying to find a way to make it playable amongst many other, variants, not just playing obviously pure, because I think we know that the name of the game now, especially in Yu-Gi-Oh in general, you have to find a way to adapt to every meta. And I think now with these cards coming into to Yu-Gi-Oh, I think it really does change the way you play the game of it, because like I was saying, it really is one of the best versions I've played in a long time, especially the Marinces version. I think it's really going to help them pushing through stuff even more than it already can play, because we can really play through quite a few things, but especially going second, I think it really feels unfair, because you can literally play through so much, and it's not even like okay, you just play through a little bit. You can literally play through a lot of things. So even if you have a full board established by your opponent's side, you can still deal with most of that. And you guys saw the video I posted earlier, where literally, remember, most of these replays are like months ago. So this is in the meta where Prime Eye Blue Eyes just came out. All those other, there's still even metas that I haven't even come yet to Master Duel, but yet it's already like kind of future proof, because I've already faced it against even the current meta right now in the OCG, Dragon Tail, even Yummy. I've even faced Yummy also, even K9. I've even faced K9 itself, and it's done very well. So it's literally future proof. So it's not like, okay, it's copium for now, and then when the meta comes, and that's it. You saw a game now against Ryziel, the same thing. It's literally future proof. So it's literally not a joke when I say this is like probably, if you mainly play Marinces, I think you should definitely consider running the Atlantean engine, because it's really good. I think it's probably better than everything else I've played. And like I said, I have tested this for quite a few times. I've done many tests. I've played against so many matchups. And literally it just feels so good, because you actually can play a deck that actually doesn't lose to the obvious things. And you might think, okay, it's just a water statue turbo or hand rip. Not really, but it's just extra layers of play that you can make, like we were already doing before. Remember, we were playing the Adelara, the Drew Moon, and the Barrier Statue package, because that was basically our small world bridge. But I think even without that, you don't really need that, because the cards itself are so good. And even if Barrier Statue gets banned, that's fine. You don't really worry about that, because the deck can still play without that. Even if Bahamut Shark gets banned, but we don't even play Bahamut in the variant that we're playing. It only affects mainly the Shark deck, but it doesn't affect the Mermail version of Marinces. It doesn't affect that. Like I told you guys before, even when in the TCG, when they banned Bahamut Shark and Abyss Dweller, you don't really worry about that, because they didn't touch the main deck. They didn't touch the extra deck that affected the actual cards. So it's still a pretty viable option. And do you think Area will be a UR? It's already confirmed in the game, is it not? Hold up. Let's just open it up. Hold up. Let's just open it up, just so that for those that don't know what's happening. This is let me just open it up here quickly. Hope you guys can see it. I hope it's clear. But let's see. Yeah, so you see new pack announced. The Wrath of Tyrants. Basically they announced that, let me just hold on. This feels like it's not zoomed in enough. Hold on. Okay, you guys can see, right? So you can see they announced the new selection pack, Wrath of Tyrants, and 5 obviously promotional cards are there. So obviously People are talking about obviously Lacrima is finally coming into the game, which is gonna definitely improve Fiendsmith combos a lot. And it's probably going to be more degenerate than you've seen Fiendsmith before, because this card literally makes everything glued together and actually becomes extra layers of disruption, which again, perfectly fine because we can play right into that. So this is like the hot topic of the moment. Everyone's talking about the cream of the crib tiers. But then obviously, even surprisingly, also Evil Heroes is also coming as well. I didn't expect that because I thought we were still wrapping up the Rage of the Abyss set, which was 6 Sam, Battle Wasp and whatever, but I guess they're dropping Evil Heroes early. But yeah, hero players also good. I think it's also a pretty good investment as well. This card is actually pretty insane. And you know what? You know what's funny about this? I actually have replays against Evil Heroes, so I'll show you what they do. While we're also talking about what Mermail Marincess does also. But basically, I have like four replays of that, so I'll show you that also in the stream also. And obviously, Argos Stars is also announced, ironically enough. Yeah. Argos Stars right now, I don't know if they're going to release all the stuff now, but it's just another trap deck, which is quite unique in a way. But I think time will tell to see what happens with that. But obviously, for us, we're obviously focusing on two things. Obviously, when they obviously put Poseidra, the Atlantean Dragon Lord, as a UR, you know definitely this is a broken card. There's no way this thing can be an SR. This card is like broken. And you saw it in the replays I showed you, like how broken this card is. And yeah, so I'm not surprised about that. This is fine. But then obviously Area of the Water Channeler, I think this is expected. Obviously, water theme, you got to release the channeler. This is the latest channeler that's come into the game. And this, I think, is better than all the other charmers you can think about. And people say this card is bad. I don't think this card is bad. I'm not saying you should play this card as a 3-of. It's an easy 1-of, but it's definitely gonna help you. And also remember, it's a small world bridge, because before we were playing Adelaria the June Moon, which was a level 5 water spellcaster, and guess what? This feats the same thing. So you literally just replace that for this, and this is objectively better. So this is like literally Small World 2.0, but for water monsters, and it's like perfect because there's no actual restriction of what you actually add in terms of attack or defense. It's just the level that you discard. So it's actually better than Cyanide Mining, because remember, Cyanide Mining only discards a card to add a level 4 or lower Cybers, but this can literally search your entire deck, because so long as you have the level equal or higher than what you want to add, it's like literally 10 times better. Because people are confusing it, only thinking that it's only higher than what you sent. No, it's equal or higher. So if I send, for example, a level 3, I can search a level 3, which is literally the same card, or higher. So literally it's infinite. There's no real restriction of what you can add. As long as it's a level 3 to level 12, you can search any water monster in the game, which is, I think it's a really good trade-off. The only downside is obviously for the rest of the turn, you can't use non-water monster effects, but that's totally fine because most of the time your hand is mainly water monsters anyway. So, and this triggers your Atlantean card, so definitely a good card to pick up. It's just a 1-of. You don't have to pay like 3 of anything like that. It's just a good 1-of, and it's really, really good. So if you don't like playing Small World, I would consider running this, because this you can Foolish with Ice Barrier. It's a level 5. You can add it back to your hand, discard whatever you don't want, a lower level water monster, get a higher monster that you need, and then you go from there. So for example, if I pitch Blue Tang, for example, I can literally search another Blue Tang if I want to, but obviously I want to search a different name than what I want to search. So it's already better than Cyanide Mining, and also you can also search Aqua Angel as well. So it can literally search anything. So remember, Cyanide Mining doesn't search Cybers monsters, so it literally is that good. You can search. Let me see what's actually saying. You can discard 3. You make 3 copies searcher. Yeah, I mean, you could discard her, but ideally you want to discard something else. So ideally to trigger your Atlantean. So for example, your Shadow Squad or your Dragoons, or maybe just an extra Marincess monster that you don't need in your hand. Like for example, Basilima. It's in your hand, right? But you have water channeler. Discard it, search Blue Tang. Perfect. It's literally perfect. Or you can search Dragoons, you can search anything level 4 or higher. So it's equal. It's really good. So It literally, and you know what the nice thing about this, even if you have a card like Mandarin in your hand, if you have Mandarin level 1, discard it, you can search a level 1 or higher. So it's like perfect. So you can still run Small World, but if you have this in your hand open, it's perfect. Because there are some situations where you need to play around, like, you know, certain things, and obviously just bait yourself. So really it is how it is. So yeah. But yeah, like I said, this is the card that they announced, which is okay. But again, people are misinterpreting this effect because it's not just a higher monster than what you discarded, it's equal or higher. So just to make it very clear, it's not like that. People are saying it is, and it's actually not a bad card, actually a really good card. Because remember, this is best of one. This is not like TCG or OCG where, okay, side deck patterns and whatnot. This could potentially be better than Small World, I would say. So even if you're even playing pure Marinsis, instead of running Cyanide Mining, I'll probably just replace Cyanide Mining with this. If I was playing pure Marinsis, I'll probably be running this. Maybe as a one-off. Because it can search my entire deck. So I'm not restricted to just, okay, Cyberus monsters only. Therefore, I can search Aqua Angel, I can search other extenders if I need to. I can search anything. So that's the nice thing about it. But then obviously, like you're saying, Zach, say true. With Crimson Tears announced, they're probably also going to have the Link 3, which is obviously, because remember, these are just the cover cards. I do pray this gets an animation though, the Dragon Lord, because this card is just too broken not to have one. I mean, they should have one. It's like the cover card of the entire set of the Mermail stuff. So they should really put this as a animation. But yeah, obviously the Fiendsmith stuff gets a lot better. And guess what? It's fine. We don't really worry about it because I actually have a replay to show you guys where we're going second against full board with Fiendsmith and everything. We were still able to break through it. So I'm telling you now, this is not a like a deck that just, okay, it's just for fun or whatever. It can actually compete with current meta. And remember, I'm telling you now, this is literally future proof. So even if Ryziel comes or Malice comes or whatever, we are still good. So I think this deck is definitely going to be for time very, very good. So yeah, so that's the new pack. Obviously Friday we'll see what the contents are, but I think we can already suspect what the contents are going to be, because surely they're not going to release half the wave of support. They're going to release everything right now. So it doesn't make sense to only release like some of the cards and then still wait for one or two cards, because I believe the whole Mermail stuff is like 7 cards in total, so it's not like too much. But yeah, they'll just release everything similar to what they did with Sharks. They released everything from Regular Abyss and Supreme Darkness, so just expect that they're going to release everything that comes relating to Mermail. So yeah. You saw Presadio could banish or return 3 cards. No, it doesn't banish, it just bounces. Non-targeting, bouncing 3 cards. So I will explain it in a later on when we cover the card breakdown. And then obviously I'll talk about different deck lists you can run, just to give it an idea. And then just to show you what the interactions are and what the synergy is and all that stuff. So we'll cover all of that. So okay, let's get out of this now. Let's focus on the game now. So let me open up let me just talk about it. Where is this? I think I made a deck list on it already. Where is it? I think it's this one. Yeah. Okay, so this is it. Let's just let's use this one. So this is 2025, not 2024, because obviously this was like old. But this is a kind of the rough idea of what the engine looks like, and you'll see it in the hand test when we actually do it to see exactly what exactly is going on. But basically, if we just talk about obviously the new stuff, there's only about 6 or so-ish cards. So we'll talk about it in depth and see exactly what happens. So we already know what the function of, wait, let me see something. You guys can hear me, right? Just to confirm you guys can hear me. Just gonna confirm you're all good before we continue here. Okay, can you, cool. No, so this is gonna be very important, because I think now this is like almost like a insight into what you're going to be looking at when looking at this option as, okay, should I run this in a you know, as an engine? Should I not run it? Should I do it? Should I consider it? I'll give you all the breakdowns, and based on what the cards do and why I think it's needed, then you'll see exactly why I think you should run it like this. So I think let's first make sure that we are good first, because I might turn this into a video at some point. So let me just see if everything's set up first before, just in case those don't watch the stream, at least they'll be able to see, okay, this is my initial thoughts on what the cards do, and then we go from there. Okay, so actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm actually going to make a copy of this. I'm actually going to cut out not the new stuff, just focus on the new stuff only, because everything else you guys have seen before. And then we'll just throw in this other stuff, and then this stuff you've already seen. I think, yeah, the Virtue Dragon, I've explained it before in the Shark Showcase, so that's already going to be there. And then, yeah, let me just check the other Mermail cards if I'm missing anything. Where is it? Just check. Let's see, this one. Yeah, this one's also another card that probably is going to come as well. Also Atlantean, but we'll just cover it also. So yeah, I think these are the these are the new cards, 7 cards, right? So I think, yeah, let's just rename this to Atlantean cards. You see, it's actually only 7 cards, so I'm surprised that they're not going to release like none of the cards. They're going to release all of it at the same time. So Mermail Atlantean, masterduel, expected cards. Okay. Cards. All right. So this is save this. Oh, where is it now? We're at the bottom here. Yeah, cool. Okay. So are we good now? Okay. Diamond, do you have any of the Bacterian engine ship monsters? Which is that? Yu-Gi-Oh? Is it what are those? I've never heard of those cards before. But okay. Okay, so this is gonna be probably the important part of the video of the stream. So I'm probably gonna record this. So if I don't respond to your comments, it's probably because I'm gonna be making a video on it. So if I don't respond immediately, it's just because I'm probably gonna be making a video. So just bear with me. You can still make your comments, I'll look at it, but then there will be segments where I will take breaks, so it's fine. The trap card, trap card. The new trap. Okay, where is the new trap? Let's talk about it. What is it called? Abyss. Yeah, this card I don't think is gonna be played that much, the Abyss team, but we can talk about it. You didn't look at yours. What was your comment? Tricky Time. What was your comment? Okay, before we get into this, let's look at all the comments first. Tricky Time, what are you talking about? Where's your comment? The Blizzard quick play spell. Where is that? Blizzard quick play spell. What is that called? What? Blizzard? Oh, I can't even spell Blizzard right. Blizzard. This one. Target one face-up spell your opponent controls this turn, negate the activated effects of that spell and all spells with that original name. If that targeted card will be sent to your opponent's graveyard this turn, it is added to their hand instead. Okay, the question is, can you search this though? Because remember, these things are great, but the question is, can you search it? If you can't search it, then is it really good? Because if it's a master duel, okay, great, but the problem is, can you search it? It definitely, I can see it does work, because you can negate Draw Beam for that turn, and yeah, you can negate pretty much a lot of things, which is actually insane. But the thing is, now you have to run like three of this, and then now you have to hope that you pray and search this. I mean, I haven't seen this card before, to be honest. Maybe is it a master duel? I don't, hold on. Is it a master duel? Is this card a master duel? I'm gonna check now while I'm doing this thing. It's a master duel. Okay. as no one's really talked about this though, because again, the problem is it's a quick play spell, number one, and yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's a card you can consider, yes, but I've never really, to be honest, I never really thought about it, but at least you brought it up to my attention. So we will mark it when it comes to, we'll see how it works in the meta, but it's just, as a going second tool, this is actually, it's more, yeah, I guess because it's target a face up spell. So it's like cross out, but instead of playing primary cards, you just have this. Okay, I guess so. It can catch people off guard, definitely. So I guess so. But okay, where is this trap card now? Abyss Team. I just added here. Save. It also saves your cross out for max C. That's true. That's true. Okay, I mean, it looks like a decent card. But also we have a similar card called White Howling. Now this card I think is objectively better because why? This can be set with Thrust because it's a normal trap, and also if they activate the first spell, cool. You can just target a spell in the grave, banish it, and you can negate all the spells for the field. But it's very slow. I do understand this is a very slow card, but there's something similar to this which is in the form of a trap, which is technically searchable through Thrust, but the Blizzard is not really. So, but it's still a good option. I think it could be a staple you could run, but it's only face up spell though. That's the only thing. It's all right. Okay. Any more things before I begin this explanation of what's actually going on with these cards and why I think they're very good? Okay. Welcome guys. Welcome. You're here to learn everything about Mermail Atlantean. So obviously I won't give you like if I don't give a full explanation of all the stuff, don't worry. There'll probably be other mini videos surfacing around soon from me, so don't worry, because everything is building up towards the pack release day. And just heads up, there's going to be a stream now, there's going to be a stream again tomorrow, and then on the pack release, literally on pack release, there's going to be another stream again. So don't be caught off guard now by, oh, why am I seeing a late stream or an early stream or whatever. Literally that's what's going to happen. So that's going to be the plan for the next few days, so do expect that. Okay, so the next 2 days is going to be all about learning, playing some combos, playing some games, hopefully trying out different versions, because there are multiple versions, so you can consider it, and then you can look at all the reasoning as to why these cards are going to be quite good. Okay. Even if you can use Blizzard on their field spell, because it can't, you can try to use it, but I don't know how the ruling works with normal summons. Yeah, I don't know. As I say, no one's really used the card. If it's been around for so long, then I don't know. Okay. Oh, did you actually talking about those machine monsters, the ones that are like in the solo mode for Sky Striker? I think you're talking about those ones. I think I have them, but they're like, as far as I know, they were like Duel Links. As far as I know, that's how I know they were there. I haven't really thought about that too much, but okay. Yeah, it's fine. We're here. Wait, did masterduel update the anti-cheat software? Why is that? Because in that case, it would be nice. Oh, okay. All right. Okay. I'm gonna. It seems there's a new update. Okay, we'll probably go into masterduel later on and see what's happening with the new update and stuff. But for now, let's focus on why we're here. We're here to learn. We're here to learn. So, again, I'll see your comments there, and then I'll get to them once I'm done with some of the segments, because I think it's gonna be quite important to go through the card by card, tell the good and bad about it, and then obviously we will obviously look at what ratios ideally you want to be running it in your decks, right? Because obviously most of you want to be playing pure Mermail, so you want to understand exactly how it works, and then the other cards which you want to run, because obviously this is the new support, but of course it also, you can play old cards as well, So that also is true. So I think we need to make sure we understand exactly what is going to be, coming soon. So I think with that being said, we're gonna have a start. So okay. So let's see if everything's set up here on my end. We should be good to go. Do let me know if any point the stuff starts lagging or whatever, but hopefully it doesn't. Okay, let's go. Okay, so this is going to be almost like an introduction to the Mermail cards if you have not seen them, or you probably have seen them, but you obviously for Master Duel specifically, you are going to be wondering how these cards are going to be impactful, because as we know, in the TCG, it was recently, nerfed in a way because they banned Bahamut Shark, they banned Abyss Dweller, so obviously you don't have access to Totally Awesome, and obviously since Abyss Dweller is not there, you don't have other plays in terms of floodgating your opponent. So that's in TCG land, but in the OCG, even without Totally Awesome, it's been doing pretty well. So why isn't it doing pretty well? Because inherently the deck is just good. I think it's really important to understand what the cards actually are doing to the current deck and what it's going to do to Master Duel. Because remember, Master Duel always surprises everyone because it's a different format from OCG and TCG. Because of course you might think, okay, if a deck flops in the other format, it could obviously benefit in a different format. So we think that Mermail is going to be one of those decks that might probably surprise people. And yeah, this is going to be like almost a card by card breakdown of the new cards, and almost just demonstrating to you guys why I believe it's going to shake up the meta a little bit. Not as much as obviously Fiendsmith, of course, but if you're playing a water deck, I think you should definitely look at this, because this is something that you could possibly use as an engine if you're not going to run pure Mermail Atlantean. So stay tuned for another video where I obviously will showcase specific deck lists. We'll go over various lists that have been performing very well in OCG, TCG, and then give you an idea of some sort of deck recipes you can try, just to give you an idea as to what to expect you can use for Master Duel. Now obviously bearing in mind the URs, the SRs, and so on, we do know that obviously the Poseidra Abyss Atlantean Dragon Lord is a confirmed UR as announced in the in the game, but we don't know what the other URs are going to be. So until that time, we'll see when the game comes out. But again, we'll expect deck profiles in a separate video. For now, this is just almost like an explanation and why you need to worry about these cards, because if you place against this deck, you need to know how to deal with it, because trust me, this deck can literally throw you off. And you've probably heard it from a lot of people talking about, hand looping you, summoning barrier statue on turn 1, they play around the Biru, all those things. So yeah, this is pretty much what these cards will do, make it more easier to access. And also going second, most surprisingly, going second, it's actually really, really good, because we all know in Master Duel specifically, we've been seeing this now in the past, going second is always the more difficult plays, going second. But this deck specifically, Mermail Atlantean, whether as a pure deck or even as an engine, it really plays well going second. And literally, it can break boards while doing your combo. So always something to consider. So I think it's a really nice addition to do that. But okay, nonetheless, let's not waste any more time. So this was a 2-wave support. So Rage of the Abyss was the main set that obviously the first wave came out, and then there were 3 additional cards that came later. So let's talk about the main deck monsters first, as well as the trap, and then we'll go to the extra deck monsters. So the first card is going to be Abyss Shrine, the Atlantean Spirit. So it is a level 3 water aqua monster, and it's always treated as a Mermail card. So even though it's Atlantean by name, it is also treated as a Mermail card. So there's an immediate synergy, because for those that don't know what the lore is, there's obviously an ongoing conflict between the Fire Kings and the Mermail Atlantean. So this is part of the lore where the Mermails, Atlanteans help each other. So indirectly in the past, it wasn't really recognized as like one deck, but now Konami has officially recognized it as one deck that synergizes. So I think it's really good that they actually finally acknowledge it in their deck, because now the cards bridge to each other, so it actually makes sense now and gives you more toolboxes to work with. So why is this card very good? So it's obviously treated as a Mermail card. So any deck that requires searching a Mermail card or summoning a Mermail card, this can be summoned or added. So what's its main effect? You can tribute this card from your hand and one Atlantean or Mermail monster from your hand or field. Take one level 7 Sea Serpent or Aqua monster from your deck and either add it to your hand or special summon it. Also, you cannot summon from the extra deck for the rest of the turn except water monsters. That's totally fine. So actually a really good effect, because normally summoning a monster from the deck is okay, but now taking possibly a level 7 Fish, Sea Serpent, or Aqua, which is quite generic, I would say, and they're really good targets for this. So I will cover exactly what the targets are in a bit, but that's actually a really good effect, especially if you play certain cards which are quite broken. So I'll get to that in a moment. But the secondary effect is also pretty good, because on your opponent's turn, quick effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard and discard one card to the grave. So you notice the Atlantean cards, what do they like in common? They like discarding for cost. So not discard for discard on resolution, is discarding for cost. So always be careful. There's always a big difference between the two. So it's part of the effect to activate a water monster's effect. So if it was after, like on resolution, sending to the grave, it doesn't trigger. So that's actually a very good thing. Draw one card. You might think, okay, why are you going to draw a card on your opponent's turn? No, I think the main purpose of this card is to actually trigger your Atlantean card. So for example, Heavy Infantry, it normally destroys a card, face-up card on the field. Not once per turn though. And even could trigger your other Atlanteans that will summon from the deck, or it will summon from the graveyard, or Atlantean monster. It will do a lot of things. So, or it can get a card that you probably don't want in your hand, in your grave, just to draw a card. Not bad. So I think it's a really good addition. And why is this card good? Well, it does two things, right? So you have an access to a level 7 monster, which is really good. And just to give you some context, what are the targets for this? So if I go to obviously here, Aqua, Sea Serpent, and Fish, and I do the filter for water monsters, and I obviously will say I want level 7. Okay, so you see there's quite a obviously not taking into account the extra deck, of course, but in terms of the level 7 targets. So you obviously have the notable ones. You have Therion, which I mean, people are not really playing this card specifically, but Ice Jade Ron Adrian is very good to search, because imagine it's a tuner monster that can also trigger your Atlantean cards by discarding. That's a really good effect, because remember, you can add to the hand or special summon. So sometimes even under draw, you might have an additional body that you can play through. You can actually do that, and actually that's quite nice. So it's actually a really nice effect. So either adding or special summoning. So sometimes if you want to play around a max C or full loss or whatever, adding to that is perfect, because for next turn you got to follow up at least. The same thing with the Pisteus. I think this now becomes a relevant card in your deck, because it actually becomes a good starter for the deck as well as an extender. So this is also a very good target. You also have another Ice Jade Tuner monster, but this one is not really the good one. Before Ron Adrian was around, this was like the only monster you could summon from the Ice Jade, which was decent. But now this is the one you're probably going to be searching, and this one. Abyss Megalo, you might be thinking, oh wow, now we can play Abyss Megalo. To be honest, Abyss Megalo is not really that needed anymore, because before, this was like your OTK enabler. But now we have better ways to OTK now. So you don't really need this card, and even in the pure build, but it is an option that you want to summon if you can. It is an SR in Master Duel, so you can definitely summon this if you want to. You can even summon the Citadel Whale, which on special summon can set a sea stealth attack. So in your Umi deck, this is very good. So if you're playing Umi Mermail Atlantean, this is something you should definitely add to your deck, because now you can actually summon this card instead of using the original effect of tributing 2 water monsters from your hand or grave, or from the field rather, and then going. So I think this is actually really good for Umi decks, and also as a negate if it targets 1 water monster you control. So this is actually a really good card for Umi decks. Then obviously Mega Fortress Field, the same thing. For Umi deck, this is very good. Because now you can search now Mega Fortress Whale, in addition to your other ways to search your other cards. So it's actually really good. Then obviously you have the OG, you know, Leviathan Dragon Daedalus, of course. For those who know the old formats, Edison format, this is a card you can search, but not really relevant right now. This is an old Mermail card, the Abyss Lead. Again, you can play this, but again, this is like the old school Mermails. So Megalo and Abyss Lead aren't really needed in the newer version of the decks. So I don't. It's an option if you want to play pure, but obviously it's not viable right now because this one requires literally 3 other waters to summon it. And obviously when you do trigger the effects, you have to summon it that way. Otherwise you won't be able to get the bonus effect of adding a spell trap from your grave or adding a spell trap from your hand. So it's really not really needed in the current modern format. But these 2 cards next up are actually quite broken. So first off, you obviously have this card, the Super Ancient Deep Sea King Coelacanth. So everyone's seen what this card does before. This is not mainly using Goaty, right? Well, Goaty can abuse it more often, but this is actually can be searched now in Mermail Atlantean. So why is this card so good? It just spams bodies on field. And you can discard a card which can trigger an Atlantean effect, summon as many level 4 or lower fish monsters as possible from your deck. But obviously they cannot get an attack, effects are negated. You don't care about that. You're caring about spamming bodies on the field. So this is actually a really good card you can summon off Coelacanth. Now the only downside is it has to be in the deck. It cannot be in the hand already. So be mindful that if you are under the effect of Duel or whatever, you can only summon this from the deck. So if it's in your hand already, you can't really use it to summon from your hand. So there's a card you can use in your extra deck to summon from the hand, but if you can summon this off Abyss Shrine, and this is a pretty broken effect. It gives potentially up to 5 bodies on field because this plus itself and the 4 bodies is broken. Now you have to run a lot of fish monsters, so just be mindful that you have to run at least 1 fish for you to activate this effect, otherwise it's not going to really work. Then the next thing is, you might be thinking, okay, what about the Poseidra, the Atlantean Dragon, the OG one? No, you don't run this anymore. This is again was for the old strategy. Now this deck is literally modernized now, so you don't need to run the OG Poseidra, you run the new one, which is the Poseidra Rumbling Atlantean. So it segues right into this one. So this is the new upgraded Poseidra, and it's literally a card that is like, it feels like a custom card, because this is exactly what I was saying in the past, where we need a toolbox that if your deck can have the ability to play going second, this is a card that you need, because what this does for Mermail specifically is giving that toolbox of breaking boards going second. This, along with the rank 7 Xyz, literally helps you to play going second. It's not just part of also extending your combos, it's also helping you to break boards going second. So what is so good about this Poseidra? The first effect is like a lingering effect. Your opponent's monsters cannot target this card for attacks while you control another monster other than Poseidra, the Rumbling Atlantean. So what that means, basically you basically if you have Poseidra and another monster on field, you can only target that other monster for attacks and not this one. So it's not like Argonaut in a way. If there's only monster on field, you can still attack into it, but now you can't target other monsters that are not this card, basically. So if there's 2 monsters on the field, they can only target the other one and not this one. So that's kind of okay. Not really relevant, but that's what basically how it's worded. But the main effects are 2 of them. So there's 2 effects. So you can send 1 other water monster from your hand or face off field to the graveyard. Spirit summon this card from your hand. So it's any water, not just a Mermail or Atlantean, any water monster. So instantly already gives you benefit, because you're triggering your Atlanteans, you're sending cards you probably don't need in your hand, you want them in the grave. This is a very good effect. And especially if it's a dead water monster that you don't want to have in your hand, you can get rid of it. Or even on the field, you can tribute it because it's from hand or field. I think it's a really good card to have overall. And this is very good. because again, it's a good extender. And also it's very good going second, because why is it good going second? Because if this card is normal or special summon, you can send one Atlantean or Mermail monster from the deck to the graveyard as cost. So be careful, as cost. So even if you negate the Poseidra's effect of whatever it wants to do, you're still triggering your other monsters that you're sending off to the graveyard. Then target one card your opponent controls, return it to the hand. That's good. I would say the next thing from banishing is returning cards to the hand or extra deck. That's a pretty good removal. Right now, the only downside is it does target, but that's fine. So long as you're triggering your other effects from the graveyard, your Atlanteans or your Mermails, but obviously the most important part is your Atlanteans. That's what the main effect is. So going second, this is very good breaking boards, because what do? You discard your Atlantean monster that you want to trigger. You summon this card. You immediately have to apply pressure on your opponent, because now you're going to be bouncing a card. You don't deal with that, okay, cool, but then something else is going to be triggering in the graveyard. So you see multiple ways to interact with your opponent. So it does force out those negations early, and guess what? It doesn't play into your normal summon as well, which is very good. So I think this card's really going to be good. So this is probably one of the best cards they've made like in a long time, especially for, fixing the issue of going second is not as strong anymore compared to going first, and this literally gives them the edge of being able to play into boards going second. So it's actually really good. And a lot of times people negate this card, but that's not the most important thing. It actually can trigger your other stuff. So it really is it really is a good card for running, if you can still break your board for your opponent and also still do combo afterwards. I think that's pretty insane. So that's what other decks like Snake Eye and all those other decks are well known for, going second, but also they're breaking boards, but at the same time they're also doing their combo. So that is definitely a good target for the Abyss Shrine. If for some reason you are struggling to play through something and you get your last toolbox option, you can also summon this and it's good to go. Especially on your opponent's turn. If you can summon this on your opponent's turn, it's a bounce back, and then that's also another disruption as well. So it can be a starter, can be extender, and it can also be an interruption also. So it's like a 3-in-1 package, which is brilliant. So that's the Poseidra. And now let's talk about the other new card that they also gave, which is Mermail Shadow Squad. Okay, so Shadow Squad is also a level 3 Sea Serpent. Okay, so it's searchable of obviously Dragoons, because it's obviously there, and also it's treated as an Atlantean card. So again, Mermail in name, but it's an Atlantean, so it's pretty much 2 and 2 together. So similar to a Abyss Shrine, so that's nice. So it's really, really good. Quite big defense. So if you don't have anything else and you have to set something, this is actually pretty good defense. So why is this card actually decent? So you can discard one card to the graveyard. So this is on the field. Okay, it's not an ignition effect or whatever. It's not a trigger effect. It's an ignition effect. So in the simplified game state, you have to activate this. Discard any card. Then water monsters you currently control become level 7 until the end of this turn. So why is that relevant? Well, it gives you access to another rank 7 toolbox, and obviously it makes it easier to summon out this guy, the Dragon Lord. Now, obviously, Poseidra has its own effect, to summon, like overlaying cheat the other way, but this is another way to make your monsters level 7. So even your now boring Marincess monsters that were level 4 not doing anything, just turn them to level 7, overlay them. How crazy is that? So if you don't want to just do link summoning, okay, cool, I want to break the board still. Now I can turn them into rank 7 or level 7 monsters to overlay. So I think that's a really cool effect. So yeah, it's a really good thing to have. So it's a good synergy there, and remember, this can discard any card. So even if it's a bad card that you don't want to see, or potentially a combo piece that you want to see in the graveyard, discard it, get rid of it. It will trigger, and it can even discard itself. How crazy is that? This can discard itself to trigger its own effect, which is now the pretty broken effect, I would say. If this card sent to the graveyard to activate a water monster's effect by cost, you can summon a level 4 or lower Atlantean or Mermail monster from your deck, except obviously itself. But you're obviously locked in extra deck for the rest of the turn. except for the monsters, which is totally fine because the payoff is absolutely worth it. So this card is really good because it facilitates access to powerful rank 7 monsters, and also provides additional field presence and also, you know, spamming bodies on field. Now, what if I told you this card alone can spam 2 bodies? Just 2. So it's actually pretty nice. So if you in a dire situation and you need to spam bodies on the field, this can trigger instantly 2 bodies. And I'll show you how you can do that in the combos. So this is a really good card to have, and especially if you're playing pure Mermail, this is an instant 3-0. Like, there's no way you're not running this at 1 or 2. You're running this at the maximum. But as an engine, definitely 2 copies is perfectly fine, because you're not going to be using the effects all that often, and also you can actually get them back quite easily. So you don't feel like you need a 3rd copy. I think 2 is perfectly fine. But if running the pure version, definitely 3. Same thing with the Bush Shrine. You definitely would run 3 in the pure version. But in the engine, you probably might consider 1 to 2 copies, which again, totally fine. I've been playing it at 1, and and obviously it might change depending on how the impact will be in Master Duel, because remember, if Draw and Lockbird becomes a problem, so Draw and Lockbird is one of the main counters to this deck because obviously it adds a lot of cards, then Abyss Shrine helps you play around Draw and Lockbird. So you'll probably want to run more than 1 copy, just to make sure that you guaranteed at least you're able to play around Draw, if Draw becomes a prevalent card in the next meta. So we'll see how that's going to be when these cards come out. But already now, Draw is kind of half and half. It doesn't come up as often, but you do have to bear in mind it could come up. So you have to find a way to at least play around it. So most of the time, your first search will probably be adding Abyss Shrine, and then if they draw you, you can still play the game at least. So that's still fine. So that's just something to consider if you're going to be, you know, running these cards at maximum copies or 1 or 2 copies. So that's just kind of my rough idea. The same thing with the Poseidra. I think this card, as much as it's a good extended to break boards, you don't need to run, I would say 2 to 3 copies is ideal. Definitely don't run 1 copy. You run 2 to 3. I think most people would say run 2, because even if you're running 2, you can always have ways to recycle it back, and it doesn't feel like you need a 3rd one. So you can run 3 if you want to, but again, we don't know what the ratio is going to be, especially if the rarity is going to be UR or not. So it really will depend what the UR to SR ratios are going to be. But I would say just probably stick it at 2 copies just to start off, and then if you feel like you need to run more, then maybe run another one if you need to. But I don't think 3 would be needed. I think 2 is just fine. The same thing with if you run these other loose targets, like Coelacanth is obviously a 1-off. You don't need to run multiple copies, just run 1-off. Same thing with Ron Adrian, a 1-off. A Basteus, maybe 1 or 2 copies. In the pure version, definitely 3 copies because it's a starter and extended. So it really is going to be good. And again, you always have to think about how the format's going to be, because you have to expect the format to be warping around certain cards. Queensmith, yes, is one thing, but also people be playing Mermail now. I don't know how often people can be playing Mermail, but if you expect Mermail, you know what's going to happen. So you have to prepare for the worst. So, yeah. But yeah, it's really a very important thing to note there. But yeah. You're saying the Twitch stream died? Why did it die now? What happened? What's going on? Do you want me to restart it again? Is YouTube still fine? Or it's not fine? Just let me know, guys, if YouTube is also messing up in terms of the stream, if it's dead or not. Let me just check on this side here. YouTube, just confirm if everything's good on your end, or it's like maybe possibly buffering or lagging, or I don't know. Maybe you can just give me an indicator before I continue, because yeah, I'm getting some okay-ish signs here. It's like green still, but I don't know if it's like signal still good. just check something here. Okay. Okay, are we back now? What's happening? Did Twitch die? Seriously, it did? Okay, hold up. Let me restart it again. Just hold on. Just 1 second, guys. Let me just try and sort this out. Okay. I'm gonna start this up again. And now what's going on with the stream now? What's going on? Why are they not okay. Is YouTube still live? I don't even know if it's even working still. Okay, there's something here. Stop. Yeah. I don't know what's going on, guys. What is happening? The stream just like crashed. I don't even know what's going on. Okay. It's fun on YouTube side? Okay. That's good. I don't know. They say Twitch is like dead. I don't know what happened there. I'm just checking now what's happening. Because it may be that it might be clashing with something. Just one moment, guys. One moment. We're going to continue with what we're doing with now here. If you're saying YouTube is fine, then I don't know. Maybe Twitch is the problem. I'm not sure. Okay, YouTube, are we back now? Because I think Twitch is something wrong with Twitch now. It just doesn't want me to connect anymore. So I don't know what happened with that side. But if YouTube is running, I think that's fine. I think we'll just have to continue on with the YouTube stream then. Because it seems like Twitch doesn't want to work. For some reason, it was working for some, but now it doesn't want to work anymore. So I don't know. But okay. Just confirm, guys. We are back on YouTube, right? We are. Oh, Twitch is back now. But now I don't know what's happening now. Very weird. Yeah. Let me just hold on one moment, guys. One moment. Yeah, I don't know. I see my Twitch is having a problem. But anyway, like I said, we'll just have to continue on. I mean, like I said, there will be a video for YouTube in case those that don't watch the stream. So even if the Twitch guys can't view it, it's fine. I mean, we'll still continue on. So I think we'll just continue on. We'll continue on. YouTube stream still works. Yeah, then I guess you just have to watch on YouTube then, unfortunately. Let's do this. Okay, one moment. We're almost gonna go resume. Yeah, I think we're last talking about obviously the impact of Shadow Squad and why I think it's very good. So I think that's where we will continue from there. But yeah, okay. So as I was saying, Shadow Squad is a very good. Okay, just make sure everything is fine. So as I was saying, Shadow Squad is a very good addition to obviously the Mermail Atlantean deck, because it really does give the deck a lot more push and actually give it a bit of synergy in a way, because before there wasn't really a synergy. You were just mix matching the Mermail cards, Atlantean cards, but there wasn't actual direct synergy. But now there actually is, especially with Shadow Squad and Abyss Shrine, and especially Poseidra, you know, really bridging the deck together. I think it's really good that we have these main deck monsters actually making the deck a lot more viable. So it actually makes the older Mermail cards, which were not really relevant before, actually become quite practical. So those are the main deck monsters. Now let's look at the spell and trap, which are the new ones. So we have a new equip spell, which is Abyss String Trainer. It's a pretty decent equip spell. Now what it does, there's two effects. Actually there's three, but one of it's a lingering effect. So you can special summon one Atlantean or Mermail monster from your hand or graveyard, and if you do, equip it to this card. So it says Atlantean or Mermail. So literally it can be an Xyz monster, a Link monster, a main deck monster, even a Synchro monster if there's a Synchro monster, but there isn't. You can actually still summon it. So it's actually really good that you can do it that way. I think it's a really nice addition to run. And it's really good as an extender. Also to start your plays going second, maybe just to bet out the opponent, and it's a really good card to run. Definitely a one-off. Now I have been testing it with two, but I think one is totally fine. You can get away with it. So what the other effects do, if the equip monster will be destroyed by battle card effect, you can send this card to the graveyard instead, and you can banish this card. Yeah, so that's the other part of the effect. So if it will be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can just send it to the graveyard instead. So that's actually quite decent. So it protects your monster from battle and card destruction. And then you can banish this card from your grave. Target up to 3 of your Fish, Sea Serpent, or Aqua monsters that are banished or in your graveyard. Shuffle them into the deck. Now you don't obviously draw a card, but getting back your resources is always pretty nice. So it actually becomes relevant because we've actually been playing a Sea Serpent in our deck the whole time before this stuff came out, which was World Sea Dragon Zelantis. And World Sea Dragon Zelantis, for those that don't know, well, wait a minute, hold on. Where is it? Let me just unfold it here. I'll go World Sea Dragon. World Sea Dragon Zelantis is a Sea Serpent. So it actually has nice synergy with the trap, the spell card. You can actually recur it back. So even if you run a one of, you can actually recycle it back and use it effect again. So it's actually really nice to have nice synergy. At least you can recur the Atlantis, because most people run one Atlantis, but in my case, I usually run two. So it's always nice to surprise your opponent with more than one Atlantis. But I have again been trying other variants with just one, and honestly, I didn't really feel the need to have a second one, because if I have the Triana, I can always recur it back and go from there. But you'll see most of the replays, the Atlantis is not even summoned as often, because now we have so many ways now to break boards, not just with Atlantis only. So now before, if you're playing Marincess, you don't have to rely on just summoning Atlantis only. You can just rely on everything else, and then last resort, boom, Atlantis, blow everything up, go for game, and that's it. So I think this eco spell is really good. Now it might feel like a brick if you don't draw a Mermail or Atlantean in your hand, or if you feel like you can't have a way to search it, but I think it's still a good card to run, especially if it can be searched off the new Mermail Link monster. So that's really good. I'll explain what this card does, but for now, let's just cover the trap, and then we'll go from there. So this is Abyss Team. Abyss Team is a new trap card that was released, and what it does, it draws cards equal to the number of different monster types among the monsters you control that are fish, sea serpent, or aqua. But then you cannot special summon from the extra deck until the end of your next turn after this card resolves, except water monsters. So it's like a similar effect to Ice Barrier, though that one locks you out of summoning entirely water monsters. This one is just from the extra deck. Then it says here, if a face-off water monster you control is destroy a battle or card effect while it's cards in your graveyard, you can banish this card, add a Mermail monster from your graveyard or banishment to your hand. So it has a graveyard recursion, but to be honest, I don't think you'll be needing this card at all, because again, the card that can set this card is the Abyss Strike. But again, the chance of you, this is a very slow card, and even if you run it in OCG and TCG, I don't think people are actually running this at all. But I mean, it's an option if you want to run it, but again, you'd rather play something else like a board breaker, a hand trap. So I wouldn't say this is a ideal. I mean, this is probably going to be like a rare or a normal, so I don't expect this to be like a UR or anything. So definitely don't be surprised there on that if this is not like a UR or whatever, because I think this will be like a rare or a normal. People are not going to play this as often. I mean, if you do see it often, great, but not really doing anything other than like, just drawing cards, but that's whatever. So it's a good, decent trap card, but it won't see any really play at all. So you don't really need it for an engine or anything, so it's totally fine. Okay, so that's the main deck. Okay, then now there's 3 extra deck new cards. Let's look at them. The first one is going to be the Xyz monsters. So we have Abyss Strike, the Atlantean spirits. So this is actually the upgrade to the original. Hold up, the Abyss Strike, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, this is the upgrade to Mermail Abyss Strike. So now it's just become an Atlantean now. So a Mermail and an Atlantean. So it's just literally an upgraded form of this. As you can see, their defense is literally the same, but now it's a level 7, and now it requires 2 plus level 7 monsters. So it's actually 2 level 7 water monsters to be exact. So it's not generic as you think it is, which is fine because your deck can make rank 7s naturally, so it's really fine. And what does this card do? It can gain 300 attack and defense for all your water monsters for each material attached to it, so it's actually really good for OTKing. But the main effect that you really use this for, if this card is Xyz summon, you can target 1 level 7 or lower. So it's not level 7 like Abyss Shrine, the main deck monster. It is level 7 or lower. Fish, Sea Serpent, or Aqua in your grave, special summon it. That is actually a really good effect because it actually can make you reborn pretty much anything you want level 7 or lower. It's not even tied to Mermail or Atlantean, so it's not just going to be used in like, you know, Mermail Atlantean. It can be even used in Synchro decks, Goaty decks. You can summon literally, and even Sharks. You can run this in Sharks because obviously it's an Xyz based deck, but you can actually run this in Sharks as well, giving you further push to extend your combos, do further things. So it's actually really, really nice. Now, obviously, it doesn't target an Xyz monster or a Link monster because it requires a level, but I think it's still quite relevant to have this effect, and it's really, really good. So, all in all, really, really good. So, is this card bad? Definitely not, because remember, it targets a level 7 or lower, and it's quite, I would say, it's pretty much generic support for Fish, Sea Serpent, or Aqua. So it's really, really good. So it gives you a board presence and also can boost attack of all your water monsters. So it's actually quite a decent card. So I think it's also a good one-of in your deck. I don't think people are running more than 2 copies of this. I think 1 is totally fine. And yeah, that's all I can say about that. Then the other Xyz monster, which, oh yeah, this card is again, it feels like a custom card, but I think Konami knew what they were doing when they were making this card, because clearly they knew what the problem was with you know, modern Yu-Gi-Oh! In terms of breaking boards and just having ability to extend and do stuff. This card does all of it. So it's a rank 7 Sea Serpent, 3000 attack, very high, and obviously requires 3 level 7 monsters. So you're probably thinking, okay, cool, can you summon it another way? Yes, you can. Well, once per turn, you can also Xyz summon Poseidon the Dragon Lord by using 1 Atlantean or Mermail Xyz monster you control. So that's relevant because if you look at currently here, as of right now, there are only 1, 2, 3 Mermail Atlantean Xyz monsters. So no one's playing Abyss Strike. That's not really something viable. Abyss Strike can overlay into this. And even now, the OG Mermail Abyss Gyos can also overlay into this as well. So practically, this requires 2 level 7 water monsters because you just take these ones and overlay it into this. Or like I said, with Shadow Squad, it makes it easier because you can turn all your monsters, including itself, level 7. So it's actually very easy to summon this card. You might think it's difficult, it's actually not that difficult. So what does it do? You can, it does 2 effects, right? So the first one, once per turn, you can detach 2 materials from this card and send 1 water monster from your hand or deck to the graveyard. So remember, it's detaching for cost, because you know when it says the comma there, comma is meaning that it's an effect requiring for cost, detaching for cost. The same with Bahamut Shah, detach a material for cost to do something else. So this has 2 commas in a way. So you're doing detaching 2 and also sending a water monster from your hand or deck to the graveyard. So it's actually triggering 2 times for cost, either detaching from its materials or sending from the deck to grave or from the hand to the grave as a cost as well. So it's from 2 places. Actually pretty insane. And the fact that it can send any water monster you want, that's pretty good. It can be an Atlantean, or it can be a specific card that you want to have in your grave at any point. You can do that. That's really nice. Now, what's the bonus effect of doing all of this? Return up to 3 of your opponent's cards to the hand. Remember, it's not monsters, it's not spell or traps, it's just cards. Return, which means non-targeting. That is broken. 3. Not 1, not 2, but 3. So I'll show you a replay just now of how broken that is, because I mean you guys saw it in the other replays, but I'll show you another one where literally it's just that broken that you can just clear up the entire field. Even back row, you can clear it up completely, force out those interactions, do all those things. And guess what? If you get rid of this card for some reason, it's another effect that to worry about, because if this card is Xyz summon and it's sent to the graveyard, so it must be Xyz summon, not special summon from the grave. If it's Xyz summon and sent to the grave, you can discard a card, any card. Special summon 3, level 3 or lower, first Sea Serpent or Aqua monsters from your hand or graveyard. So the only downside is with this, you must obviously have valid targets to summon this, and it must be 3 monsters. It cannot be 2, because it says if it said special summon up to, then that means it can be only one monster. But because it says summon 3 level 3s or 3 level 3 or lower, you have to have a target in the hand or the grave. They must have 3 monsters. If you don't have 3 targets, you're not going to activate the effect, unfortunately, which is totally fine, because you do run enough engine in the deck to ensure that you do have this live if it does come up that it gets to the graveyard for some. And remember, by battle, by being destroyed, or just being sent to the graveyard by a link summon or whatever, it can trigger all the effects. So what does it do? It gives 1 body, spins 3 cards back, and generates 3 bodies back when it's sent to the grave. That is just insane. It feels like literally a custom card. So this is what, again, something you've been looking at for so long, where, you know, the ability to break boards, and this is a card that does that. So, and you saw it now in the earlier replays, it's not that difficult, and you can see when it actually resolves, it's pretty broken. And as I said, most of the time you don't even need Atlantis to actually like close out the game, because this effect, if this resolves, pretty much you're pretty much almost there to win the game. So you're gonna get your extension, you're gonna get your follow-up, you're gonna keep pushing, and again, it's part of your combo. So even if this thing gets negated, okay, cool, you get rid of, you link it off, you get 3 bodies back, you can do something else afterwards. So it's really a never-ending cycle. So as long as this card was XC summon, it's a difficult card to deal with, and you give it materials, it's pretty broken. So this is a really good card. I actually like it a lot. And again, I would say 1 to 2 copies you need. I think 3 is a bit too much, but definitely one of is fine. But I would say 1 to 2 copies if you want to keep that as an investment for the future. Because obviously, if you're going to play pure Mermail, probably 1 to 2 copies. But if you're playing like as an engine, I think 1 is totally fine. So that's definitely an option there. And then of course, we have to talk about obviously the Neptibus Atlantean Prince, who's upgraded now into a king. Okay, so now he's a Mermail king now. So he's finally taken the throne, which is okay. Cool. Now he's a link 3 now, which is great. So what does this card do? 2400, bigger than Coral Triangle, so already better. It's a Sea Serpent. It requires 2+ monsters, including a first Sea Serpent or Aqua. So what does that mean? You can even use Core Enemy. Core Enemy can revive back a monster with 1500 or less attack, and you can overlay it into this. Or not overlay, but link summon into this. So it's a really good card to go into. You don't have to use like, okay, you can use 3 bodies, but you can just use a link 2 and a first Sea Serpent or Aqua, and that's it. So sometimes I use Crystal Heart plus something else, or an enemy plus something else. It's really not a big deal. So why is this card actually good? Your opponent cannot target water monsters this card points to with card effects. So we basically have Sprite Elf, but for water monsters. So it's not broken compared to Sprite Elf. Sprite Elf protects everything. This only protects water monsters pointing to the card. So, and remember, it's got 3 arrows, so it's actually pretty good. And actually comes up quite relevant, because you'll see now, if a water monsters is sent to the graveyard to activate a card or effect, so it has to observe it first. Then you can take 1 Abyss equip spell from your deck or graveyard, either add it to your hand or equip it to this card. If this card is in its own position to show up by opponent's card, you can add an Atlantean or Mermail monster from your deck to your hand. So it's a link 3, which is very easy to summon. It's your opponent cannot target water monsters as card points with card effects. So it gives it protection for your link water monsters. It obviously facilitates, reborning your monsters through the use of the equip spell, or potentially equipping something else, for resource recovery and so on and so forth. But yeah, it really is a good card all around. Is it part of the end board? Sometimes, but sometimes it's not. But when it does come up, I think it's a really good effect. So that targeting protection is quite good, because what I like to do, you saw in the other replay, like if you saw in my earlier video, I literally try and prioritize this first. Then once I do that, then I do my normal Marincis combo or whatever. Then I'm completely protected from Vela Imperm, and it's like useless. They have to have double Imperm just to deal with it. So by that point they've wasted all their hand traps already. So then I just do my full combo with my Link 4 plus Wave, and I still have Mermail King Neptunus on the field, protecting it from being targeted. So it's literally good. The only thing I can obviously deal with it is Droplet, and of course Imperming itself, but it rarely comes up. And also it's good follow-up as well, because again, it protects your water monsters from being targeted, so your plays are more or less safe. So even going second in a way, it doesn't come up as often, but if you are going second and you somehow able to make this, and you still have plays, I think it's really good. So again, do you need more than one copy? Definitely not. I think one is perfectly fine. If you're running two, I think that's a bit too much, because it can literally summon itself back, and there's so many ways to add this to get this card back. And also, fun fact, the Coral Triangle can actually reborn this, because it says you can banish this card from your grave and special summon water link monsters whose combined link rating equals exactly 3. So Coral Triangle can just instantly reborn the Mermail King Neptunus, and it's like, okay, cool. You just carry on from there. So Coral Triangle becomes in a way broken, because it just keeps making future link monsters better if they're water, because you can just revive them. That's quite nice. So you can just straight up revive this if it's in your graveyard for some reason and got destroyed. And mind you, this gives you also follow-up if it gets destroyed by battle, or by a card effect, only by destruction though, not by banishing or whatever, because it says only if it's destroyed by an opponent's card. Then you can add an Atlantean or Mermail. That's really good. So you see, you're not hard locked into anything. You just search, quick protection on field, has a good effect to recur an equip spell, or to add one from the graveyard also, not just from the deck. So even from the graveyard, again, infinite recursion. So it's really, really good. So Mermail King Neptunus, I like it. Really good card. And I think that covers the, you know, the main cards that we are expecting to come into Master Duel. Now you're probably thinking, okay, how are the ratios going to be in terms of URs and everything? Well, like I said, we know for a fact that the Poseidra Dragon Lord is going to be a UR, but we don't know what the others are going to be. Now, if I had to make a prediction, this is just me, but if I had to make a prediction, I would say this is probably going to be like a SR to UR. This one's going to be a SR to UR. This one might be a normal. This one might be an SR to UR. So I expect that, because the effects are all that good. So it'll be weird if they make this like a rare or normal. It's like everybody uses these cards. So just like how we saw with Blue Eyes, I mean, your Maiden was UR, your Wishes was UR. So I mean, it's gonna be the same thing with Mermail, right? I don't care if they're UR, because they are that good. They deserve to be URs, in my opinion. So yes, it's gonna cough out your gems and your UR material a little bit, but I think it's worth it. If you are invested in this deck, then you should definitely pick it up, because I don't think at one point they're gonna ban these cards directly. They'll probably ban other cards around it, but that's totally fine. I mean, this is still a good investment for the future. And like I said, worst case scenario, it will just, if the pure deck dies for some reason, you can still run it as an engine. So I think it's really good to you know, pick up these cards. And if you're not necessarily picking up Mermail itself, I mean, even if you pull it from the pack, just keep it. Unless you know for a fact you're not going to play it, but I mean, then why are you going in the pack in the first place? I mean, just for Fiendsmith, you might as well just craft the Lacrima, craft the Agnamde, and that's it. If you weren't worried about Fiendsmith. But obviously the theme will probably be more on the Mermail cards, which I think most of the URs is going to come from. There's also Evil Heroes, so there might be an equal ratio of split between URs amongst those two, but other than that, I think it's fine. We'll see how it goes from there. But yeah, that is the cards that will be coming out in Master Duel, and just give you like almost like a breakdown as to why I think the cards are good. So yeah, it definitely does, you know, give you a bit of understanding as to why these cards are great. Now, just to wrap it up in summary, so Abyss Shrine, very good. You know, it can tribute itself an Atlantean and Mermail, summon a level 7 Fish Serpent, Aqua of All, or Sea Serpent from the deck. Very, very good. Or add it to the hand if you want to add it to your hand. And it's a really good card. Good 3 of. Definitely all 1 to 2 or 2 to 3 copies. Shadow Squad, also 2 to 3 copies, very good. This one summons from the deck, of course, a level 4 or lower, so very good. Triana, 1 of, maybe a 2 of, but if it's a low rarity, I mean, just pick up all 3 regardless, doesn't really matter. Presidra, I would say arguably the best card going second. If you're going second, this is like your instant, like your best card going second. I mean, yes, your other cards, yes, but mainly this one, because this will literally start breaking your boards and then you're still calming off, so it's really good. The Abyss team, I don't think is going to be that relevant in the meta. So, like I said, I expect it to be a low rarity, so I wouldn't stress too much about this if you don't pick it up. It's not really needed in some combos, so totally fine. Because you can set it with this card, but this card is the one you probably want to invest in. This is the 1 of, this is a 1 of, and this is maybe 1 to 2 copies, depending on how you want to play the ratios out. So yeah, that's just a bit of an overview as to how the Mermail cards are going to impact, you know, Master Duel when they come into the game. Like I said, in the next video, we are going to be looking at detailed deck lists, as well as, you know, basic combos for certain lines if you want to play a certain style. Because you can obviously play pure Mermail, which is very good, and you can also play it as an engine. So I will showcase to you, so, you know, obviously the deck list I'll be showing you will probably just be mainly pure Mermail, because that's what people have been playing in OCG and TCG, but I think I'll also show you some other builds that you could also run as a deck idea in the next video. But for now, this one is just to give you almost like an introduction to what the Mermail cards will do. And yeah, it's coming to Master Duel, and it's coming to take over. And as much as Fiendsmith is going to be running rampant, just remember this: Fiendsmith is going to be nerfed at some point, and Mermail is probably not going to be nerfed at some point. So I would say, in terms of a long-term investment, this is probably the cards you want to be investing in rather than Fiendsmith, because you know Fiendsmith is going to be limited at some point. I mean, I don't think it's going to stay around forever. So always think about the long-term investment when it comes to these cards. So I think it's really good that, you know, you can still invest in this, which you know is going to be there for the future-proof. Whereas Fiendsmith, I mean, it can die tomorrow. So literally a few formats, and then before you know it, they kill it, and then on to the next thing. Because remember, there's still Rizal coming, there's still Malice coming, and I can tell you now, this deck can hold its own against Rizal and Malice. So don't think that this deck is going to be a rogue deck. I mean, it probably is going to be rogue, but it's fine. I think it just needs more people representing the deck, and yeah, it definitely is a good option to be playing. And like I said, it really does boost the ability of playing second, because playing second in Master Duel is very difficult. You're playing against a board that possibly you can't break. This can give you a little bit of a chance, and I think this is one of the rare decks that actually can break a board with like minimal cards in hand. Because when one card does many things, then you know those cards are like premium cards, not just okay, normal summon and then you kill a normal summon, done. This can completely protect your normal summon. This deck doesn't really care about if you're playing pure Mermail. They don't really rely on the normal summon. So the only real normal summon is Atlantean Prince. But even then, if you imperm it, mailer it, that's fine. You still triggered your other stuff. That still gets you going. And yeah, you at the same time, you're hand ripping your opponent and doing all those other things. But yeah, that's just, again, this is just a mini introduction. Obviously, more detailed combos and deck lists will be shown in the next video. So make sure to do like and subscribe if you want to see that content coming through. And like I said, once the Mermail stuff comes into Master Duel, we'll pretty much be streaming every day. Again, just trying to see how fair it does in Master Duel. And I think it will do well in Master Duel. And like I said, this is the same guy who I told you guys for so long, like every version that I've made, it's not for just for copium or whatever, it's made with the purpose. So I truly believe that this will be probably the best version of, you know, water decks you've seen in a long time, because these cards are that good that actually makes, you know, decks that are kind of okay-ish can actually compete while going first or going second. So definitely do look out for that. So yeah, thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, we will see each other next time on the deck list detail breakdown, look at the card ratios, see what other people are running, different techs, and so on. But otherwise, you can follow me on YouTube, on Twitch, and you can check out the streams. We are live more or less every day when I can be. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Cheers. Okay, so that is the video done. So that I've recorded what I need to record. So now let's talk about the ratios now. So now that's the first part. Oh, whatever that now. Yeah. Okay. So what you're all here for? The engine, right? Okay. So this is the second part of the recording that I'll be doing. So this will be where the main questions are going to be asked. Okay, what cards do you run if you're playing Mermail or whatever? So I'm going to focus on Mermail for now, and then I'll show you some sample lists that I've been working with in the past few months, and just to give you an idea as to like how the hand tests work, but basically just to explain what the engine will do, and almost like you can kind of predict what the combo lines are, because it's pretty much infinite combo. It's not like definite 1 card, 2 card, 3 card, 4 card combos, whatever. There are a few, but once you get the hang of it, you will know exactly what you need to do when you see your hand, because obviously you're saying 1 card, 2 card combo, but that's not taking into account you do have a 5 card, 6 card hand. So it really does depend on what's happening there. So yeah, okay, judges, all good. We'll see you next time. We're still gonna be here for a bit. I mean, we're still here, but if you need to go, all good. Okay, so let's just continue on. Okay, so this is the, like, as I promised you guys, this is the next part of the series of videos where I'll now be showcasing to you why I'll be playing Mermail with this Mermail Atlantean engine, and why I believe it's very, very good, you know, especially, you know, in the best of 1 format. You know, I've been saying for a long time, we needed something that actually helps us play into boards and also play around, you know, the normal summon, because, you know, the normal summon is the biggest weakness of the Mermail deck. So I truly believe that this will be actually a very, very good engine to run. And I'm not even kidding. This might be the best version you've seen to date, because I've been playing this deck for literally months, ever since it actually was announced in the OCG. When the cards were available, I've actually been testing it, you know, going in the lab, practicing as much as I can, just like with any other deck I've showed you guys, finding a way to make it work. And I think I've made it work. So what you see on screen now is obviously just a roughly 23, 24-ish card engine, which I'll explain exactly what the ratios are and why I think for now this is kind of the ratio you have to work with. Obviously as a baseline, of course, you can always modify it to what you want it to be, but I think in Mermail it's very important to know how the interactions actually work and how it's going to be. So let's look at the card by card. So you've already seen in the previous video the Abyss Shrine, the Shadow Squad, the Rumbling Atlantean, the Dragon Lord, and the other cards which and also the Triana as well as the Abyss Strike. Now you notice Abyss Strike is not in this build because it's not really needed. It's more for pure Mermail, other Ice Barrier, Goaty, other builds. This one, you don't really need it. It's because remember, your main strategy is still going to be Marincess all the time. You're just running additional engine to help you play around, you know, hand traps, and also help you to go second, also to have additional ways to play the game. So what are the cards that I'm running in combination with the Mermail cards with Marincess? Because Marincess is more or less unchanged. I mean, the same extra deck is more or less the same. There are going to be slight changes to the deck that there were before, but basically I'm just going to showcase to you how this engine kind of fits in together and why I think it's really, really good. So you'll see the main deck, okay, I'm running 2 Neptibus. Okay. Now you could say, why are you not running 3? Well, remember, you are clashing with your other normal summons in the deck. So the other normal summons are going to be, you know, Blue Tang. It's going to be Spring Girl, potentially. Obviously, why would you normal summon it? But you have Blue Tang, you have Spring Girl, you have Aqua Angel. That's also not mentioned yet, but it's also there. Actually, no, let me just add Aqua Angel in here now, so that people don't get confused there. What's happening? Where is Aqua Angel? There it is, Aqua Angel. Okay, let's just throw it in there. Okay. So this is why I think this is the kind of direction you have to run, because you don't need to run many normal summons in the deck, because that's also the downside of running multiple decks. You going to, obviously, if you're playing multiple decks in one, you have to ask yourself, okay, how many normal summons are in the deck? If there are too many normal summons, then I have to now pick and choose which one is going to be player on hand trapped more. That's where now you have to kind of think about, okay, what is the cost benefit in a way? So that's why I don't want to run many normal summons, because essentially your engine is still, yes, you play Marincess, same standard cards, but your ratios will be slightly different depending on which version you're playing. The same thing with now the Atlantean. Now, obviously with Atlantean, 3 Dragoon is a no-brainer. You have to run 3 because it's like that good. So I think 3 Dragoon, 2 Shadow Squad is needed. Again, 3 is a bit overkill, but unless you want to see more of the Atlantean engine versus the Marincess engine, that's fine. But then obviously now it's just becoming a Mermail Atlantean deck at that point. You obviously want still Marincess to shine as the main focus of the deck. So that's why you rather want to see more Marincess cards than this. But if you see this, that's also fine too, because you can literally open 0 Marincess cards and still end on a Marincess end board. So I'll show you that in a bit. So I'm running 2 Shadow Squad. I'm running 1 Deep Sea Diva in the place of a 3rd Neptibus, because this again doesn't give me additional Sea Serpents, not just Neptibus. I can get other Sea Serpents if I need to, like Shadow Squad, like even Tree, and even Deep Sea Minstrel, and even Deep Sea Minstrel. I'll explain what this card does. I think most of you know what this card does, but you can also summon this as well from Deep Sea Diva. So that's my like main normal summons in a way. Then obviously Abyss Teus is good for a starter as well as extension, because again, triggered your Dragoons, your Shadow Squad. It triggers all your Atlantean stuff, which is very good. So going second is actually really nice. It also gives you a body on field and can also search your Mermail card. So the cards you'll be searching is going to be Abyss Shrine or Shadow Squad, but most of the time you're searching Abyss Shrine, because again, Abyss Shrine is your best way to either play around draw or access to summon your roaming Atlantean. So again, I'm running 1 copy. I don't see a need to run 2, like I did explain before in the last video, but in my builds that I've tested, you can get away with 1 copy. 2 is okay-ish, but then remember your ratios of hand traps, board breakers, you have to always consider that. So if you want to see more engine, run 2 copies. If you want to run less to kind of still be viable to run some hand traps and board breakers, then you obviously have to run I would say 1 Abyss Shrine. You can get away with it, that's fine. That's perfectly okay. Now this is a sleeper, the Mermail Abyss Dine. So you're probably thinking, why is this card in the deck? This card actually helps you play around draw, and also gives you that extra body I was talking about in the previous video, where Shadow Squad will actually give you access to Abyss Shrine, Abyss Dine. Abyss Dine will revive back a Mermail, because it says if it's summoned by the effect of a Mermail monster, which is going to be Shadow Squad, you can Shadow Squad activate, summon Abyss Dine from the deck. It will trigger the effect because it was summoned by a Mermail monster. Target a level 3 or lower Mermail monster in your graveyard. Summon that target. So already you have 2 bodies, and potentially you might have a 3rd body on the field. Discard a card, and guess what? You have access to a rank 7 Xyz to break boards. Just like that. So even under draw, right? What's going to happen? So let's say worst case scenario, I'll literally show you a combo or under draw. You can still make a decent board. The only thing is you won't be able to search wave, but you can still make a link 4 with other things. Pretty nice. because you have the ability to summon that additional body from your graveyard, which is very good. And most of the time, this also can be a good searcher slash extender, because let's say you open, let's say Abyss Pike, for example. It's also a good normal summon, but ideally you want to summon this from the deck, of course, because when it's summoned, you can discard a card and add a level 3 water monster. So what are the targets? Atlantean Spirit, the Abyss Shrine, the Mermail Seahorse, the Abyss Dine, as well as Deep Sea Minstrel, as well as Shadow Squad also. But you're not going to be obviously searching that, you're searching these. These are your 4 targets mainly. So why is Minstrel here? Because it's obviously searchable under Dragoons, because Sea Serpent, and also it's a level 3. So why is this good? It looks at your opponent's hand and you can banish 1 card from it until the end phase. So you can potentially snuff away in the Nibiru, a potential hand trap, Imperm Veiler that you know is going to disrupt your combo. Deal with it, end phase, you get it back to them, and you go on as if nothing happened. So that is that. So that's why we run Minstrel. I explained why we run Abyss Dine. And Seahorse is the card that actually makes this thing work together. This is the card that bridges the Mermail engine into the Marincess engine because of Marincess Seahorse. Now, if you also have Aqua Angel in your hand also, then it also helps also, because you'll see in the combo, you also can have access to that just because you have a Marincess on field, which I'll explain how we get there. But this is the one you're searching off of Abyss Pike, and then you're going to get Marincess Seahorse. You're like, okay, after Marincess Seahorse, you need to have a Marincess monster on field to be able to special summon it to that zone. Well, we're going to get that zone because at that point, you're going to have 3 bodies on field, Nibiru proof, and you're pretty much good to go. So, that's why we run that. Okay. And then the other cards I'm running, which again, you might say, okay, what ratios are you running at? So again, like I said, Abyss Pike, you need it in the deck because you ideally want to summon it from the deck, but also it's good if you normal summon it from the hand. Or because this plus Shadow Squad actually gives you 3 bodies still, like I said. Because this, you discard that, can search Seahorse. Then what does Atlantean Shadow Squad do? Summons Abyss Dine. Abyss Dine gets back Shadow Squad, and guess what? You have 3 bodies on field. You can still do your combo again. So it's still pretty good. Because what's the main thing? You're spamming bodies on field. That's what Marincess was lacking. Spamming bodies. So now you don't have to only rely on, okay, Marincess to spam bodies. Now you can just use other ways to spam bodies on field, because most of the Marincess monsters, for an enemy, you know, Bubble Reef, they're all generic monsters. Even Crystal Heart is generic. So it's actually helping you to do that. That's why it's very important. So when you have, you know, these ratios, so you notice for Abyss Pike, what's the ideal ratio you want to play? I would say 1 copy is fine, but I've also play tested having 2 copies. So I would say 1 to 2 copies. You can just test it out and see how you feel. I will show you combos also where sometimes you can, if you open it with a Shadow Squad, it's actually not that bad. Because again, even if you get impermed on this, you still get 3 bodies on field, and you still have other cards in your hand to potentially extend. So it's not a bad deal. Even if you get impermed, it's fine. You can still play through the game. Because the main thing is, if you can trigger Shadow Squad and Dragoons, you're pretty much good to go. There's no way you're not resolving your stuff, because you can play through pretty much any hand trap they throw at you. It's pretty much fun. So that's the nice thing about it. Then in terms of the spells, you'll see the Marincess spells are still here. Dive and Wave, right? I'm only putting it here because I want to show you as part of the engine what actually happens. Same thing with the extra deck. So obviously this is not the ratios I'm saying you must be running. I'm just saying this is the engine that I'm showing to you on screen that makes it a consideration for your, if you want to run this as a potential engine piece in your Marincess build, for example. But also, if you take out the Marincess cards, then obviously you have the rest of the Mermail Atlantean engine itself. You can use in other decks as well, but I'm only focusing on Marincess now for today. So that's pretty much why I'm showcasing this. So as part of the combo, you will be able to search Dive, you will be able to search Wave, and then most of the time you will be able to search an equip spell. So that's why there's 2 here. There's obviously the Triner, which I explained, and then this is an old one, very old spell. This is the Biscale of Mizuchi. Now, obviously, you might be thinking, okay, why is this in here? How practical does it come up? Well, spell cards are quite often used in Master Duel, so potentially board breakers like Dark Ruler, Droplets, Feather Duster, and all those things. You can deal with it because this card says when a spell effect is activated by your opponent on the field, resolves. So keyword is resolves. So if they are activating their stuff for cost and everything, that still goes through, but it still gets negated on their side, which is pretty insane. So like for example, Super Poly, discard a card. They have to discard a card still, but on resolution is negated. So it's pretty insane. And also, this can reset this eco spell onto it, because if you send another water during that turn, maybe on your opponent's turn, you can re-equip it again. You saw it in my duel against I think it was White Forest Azamina Fiendsmith in my other video that I posted on YouTube recently, so I recommend checking that out. You will literally see the interaction, what happened there. They tried to use Fiendsmith Track, it didn't work. I used Abyss Shrine to discard a card, and because the King Nectabus triggers when a water monster is sent to the graveyard for an effect, you can re-equip the Mizuchi again. So it's like double interruption for spells. Pretty insane, right? So it can come up, but again, you don't have to play this. You can get away with just running the Triner only, but I feel nice knowing that I can at least negate a spell effect on the field, not have to rely on other things to deal with that. So if they want to call by something, if they want to use Dark Ruler, if they want to use Droplet, it's not going to work. So yeah, this is a flex spot that you can run here. You can easily cut out the Mizuchi. You can run just the Triner only, and you can run maybe another engine piece for the Mermail Atlantean stuff, maybe another Shadow Squad, another Abyss Shrine if you want to. But I've had no problem having this card in my toolbox because again, it's adding more interruptions to your board. Now, we don't make a million negates. Don't get me wrong. We're not running this engine to spam negates, because that's not what this whole thing is about. It's about being able to play Yu-Gi-Oh! And having interactions. Because how many times have you played Master Duel where you felt, okay, I wish I had more interactions, but still naturally doing combos? That's pretty much what this is achieving. So yes, your turn one end board is not like super amazing, but it's still good enough and impressive that, okay, if you can't deal with it on the next turn, we're basically killing you next turn. So that's why I'm running this, because it doesn't come up all the time, but it definitely can come up and it's actually really good. So rounding up the engine, obviously in the extra deck, you'll notice there's two changes in the decks I'm going to be showcasing to you. So it will be, something you must always consider. There's going to be one Mermail King and one Dragon Lord. Now remember, the extra deck space is 15 slots, so you normally have like 2 or 3 flex spots, normally Marincess, because I think 12 is like your core. So what I've been doing in the past, I was running double Bubble Reef and double Zelantis. But of course, we know in Master Duel how broken Zelantis is. So I've always been saying about maybe I might not cut Zelantis to 1 in Master Duel. I might just cut Bubble Reef to 1. But then at the same time, I was also running Gamia. Gamia was also in the deck. And this is a card I was saying to you guys before. This card is completely cuttable at any point because it doesn't come up all the time. It only comes up in certain situations. I mean, yes, it's nice to have, but it doesn't come up all the time. So this is a slot I was willing to give up just to make room for, other things. So you will see in the list that I will show you that this is something that you can obviously consider. So you will see that just now. But basically, in terms of the engine, how it all functions, this is what it is. So what I'm going to do, we're going to obviously save this, right? In terms of the Marincess ratios, now you're probably thinking, what's happening with the Marincess ratios? Don't worry about that. I'll explain exactly what's going to happen after showcasing to you how the engine basically works. So we're going to do obviously a hand test, just to show you, like for example, like the 2-card combos that you can do, because and obviously the 1-card combo is Neptibus, but the other ones are a way to trigger Dragoons or Shadow Squad. Then you can also do the same combo, or you can normal summon Pike and Shadow Squad. So what I'll do, we'll just do a hand test just to show you, like, basically I'll show you like the basic one, which is Abyss and Dragoons, and then you can take it from there. Then I'll show you different variants which basically end up on the same thing and the same idea, but it's just basically something you can think about. So this is obviously for more or less going first. Going second is slightly different. I will show you replays for that one, so just stay tuned for that one. So let's go into the hand test and I'll show you the basic combo, how this engine bridges together. So all you need is basically a way to trigger Dragoons. So discarding Dragoons through you know, the Abyss, the Abyss, even, you know, Abyss Shrine, you've seen Minstrel, even Presidra. If Presidra is your opening hand with Dragoon, that's also fine too, because you can search another one also. So it's not a big deal. This also, as long as you can trigger Dragoon, it kicks off your combo. Even the Ice Jade Tuna monster can also trigger it, because it triggers off discarding. And yes, also, just so that you guys don't feel left out, the area, the water channeler, also does trigger Dragoons as well. So as long as you have a way to discard Dragoons, you're good to go. I'll show you other tech cards that I'm running in my builds, but for now, this is what I'll be just showing you, the basic Mermail engine. And yeah, let's get on to the hand test. Okay, so this is just with, you know, like I said, having a way to trigger the Dragoons. Okay, so we're assuming there's no hand traps. We're just saying, okay, we're just showing you what is the basic engine that you can do when you have just maybe Abyss and Dragoons. Now notice, if you start with this, let's say you get ashed or whatever. Remember, you still have your normal summon. So if you have a Marincess monster or another way to make your plays, you still are fine, all good to go. So you can obviously trigger Dragoons by discarding it, and you're going to summon Abyss. Chainlink 1 is going to be Dragoons, of course. Chainlink 2 is going to be Abyss. So here you're going to add a level 4 lower Mermail monster. So here you have choices. You're obviously going to add Abyss Pike, you can add Shadow Squad, or you can add Abyss Shrine, or even Abyss Dine. Now this monster, and this monster, you like to have them in the deck. So here you're going to be searching for Abyss Shrine. Like I said, this also helps you play around Duel, and also if you also have other cards in your hand that you already have wanted to search, you already have already, then you just have a way to add. Like you select Minstrel. If you have Minstrel already, that's perfectly fine. But if you don't have Minstrel, you're going to add the Neptibus. Okay, that's normally the play you're going to do. So now you're going to obviously summon Neptibus, normal summon. Okay, cool. And now you're going to send Shadow Squad for cost, because Neptibus says you're going to send an Atlantean monster. So even though it's Mermail by name, it's an Atlantean monster, the Shadow Squad. And you're going to add a Atlantean card. So in this case, because I already have Dragoons in my hand already, this is where you're going to be searching Dragoons. But if you have a Dragoons already, you can search literally anything else. So you can search maybe a Atlantean, which is Presidra in my case. And now you're going to trigger the Shadow Squad. Summon a level 4 or lower from the deck. I like summoning Abyss Pike. Okay? And then by doing so, when this card is special summoned or normal summoned, so it's a when effect, so it can miss timing. So always remember, this has to be Chainlink 1. If it's Chainlink 2, it's not going to trigger. Because unfortunately, it's a when. It's not a if. So when means it can miss timing. So it must be Chainlink 1, the last thing that happens. So what happens on summon? You discard a water monster. Keyword, you must discard a water monster. So it can be a Dragoons, it can be a Abyss Shrine, it can be whatever. So we're going to discard a Dragoons again, and we're going to add a Seals. And then we're going to add another card for follow-up. So in this case, it can be Minstrel. So how do you play around Nibiru? Remember, how many summons do we have here? This is the first summon, second summon, third summon. we still have 2 more summons. At this point, if you're not hand trapped, we can search for Minstrel. Okay. Remember the Abyss Shrine that we searched earlier? I'm not using any other cards in their hand. Obviously, we search also the Rumbling Atlantean, but let's say we had the Abyss Shrine only in their hand. We can use the Minstrel to discard the Abyss Shrine and then snipe a Nibiru or Ash or what else they have in their hand and get rid of it. So let's say they had Nibiru. You can get rid of it at this point. So Nibiru is not even a problem anymore. So you completely play around Nibiru, no problem. So obviously, because there's no opponent, Minstrel can't activate. But let's say you could, you would pitch that, a water monster, and then you go from there. Now, you'll notice we have 3 bodies on field. We have Seals in the hand. Like I said, how do we now bridge into Marince's combo? Because at this point, there's no Marince's cards in our hand at all. Only a Seal, so we search off Abyss Spike. So now we're going to go into Crystal Heart. You could go into Core and Enemy, but that would be a mistake. Because before, when I started playtesting the deck, I used to go Core and Enemy first, but then I realized, no, actually, I can go Crystal Heart first because you can actually summon Core and Enemy later. So I'll summon all of these 3 and I'll show you how. This is the important sequencing you have to do. So Crystal Heart is going to use any 2 monsters, doesn't really matter. You're obviously going to put it into a zone that is open. Keyword, a zone that's open, because obviously now Seals won't be able to trigger to its effect to summon from the hand because there's no open link zone that a Marince's points to. So now that it points to a link zone, now we can summon it. Okay. Now, I like to do this personally, but I like to go into link 3 immediately. So I use Crystal Heart plus a Fish, Sea Serpent, or Aqua. And that's what you use it for. Then you put it into the zone here. I like to put in the writer zone, not this zone, because here normally things can happen in this zone here. So I like putting it this side. And now where do you go from here? Now you do your normal combo. Your normal combo is the same. So now you still have your link 1s. So now you use this. You go into Sea Angel. And notice you are protected from Imperm Veiler at this point. So if they want to target something, they have to target the Neptibus. So they've wasted their Veiler Imperm because now you are completely protected because you're under the Neptibus. So how many times where we used to do our combo and we're like, oh, we lost to Imperm, we lost to a Veiler. Well, now we are completely playing right through it. You're going to use Dive, summon your monster from your graveyard. And you're going to go into link 1 now. Again, under Neptibus, so you completely protected from Veiler Imperm. Add back your Seals. And you're going to go into Core and Enemy now. Again, still under the Neptibus zone. And revive back a water monster with 300 or less attack, which could be your Atlantean monsters, but in this case, we're going to summon our Marince's monsters. Because Core and Enemy requires Marince's monsters. If it was water monsters, then of course you can literally summon anything you want, but in this case, you need to have Marince's monsters. So you have to go into that. Go Core Triangle. Trigger Core and Enemy. Gonna add back Dive for follow-up. Because you're obviously gonna make sure that you have follow-up. Obviously, whatever's in your hand, also you're gonna have that. Now, this is the nice thing about Marince's. What does Marince's do normally in their cards normally? They discard or send. So discard and send is basically the same thing. You're sending for cost. Discard for cost or sending for cost will trigger an Atlantean effect or also trigger Mermail King Neptibus. So you send a water because it says in the effect, send 1 water monster from your hand to the graveyard. That is a water monster being sent to activate a card effect. So we're going to send the Seahorse. Add wave. And now Mermail King has seen, okay, a water monster was sent to the graveyard to activate an effect. Literally says in the text. So that's how we're able to have some synergy, because we're not just splashing it in the engine because we want to splash it into it. There's actual inherent synergy. Okay, so what do you have? What do you want to do here? You have choices. You want to either add the Equip spell, or you can add the Triana for a Monster Reborn. Now, where would you set the Abyss scale? Only if we have an additional Marince's extender. So in most of the cases, you'll probably have other Marince's monsters in your hand, like Spring Girl, Aqua Angel. So in that regard, you have an additional extender to make a link 4. So in that case, you will use the Abyss scale Mizuchi and equip it to the King Neptibus. But in this case, I like searching for Triana if I don't have access to that. And then I'll use the effect to reborn any monster that's Atlantean or Mermail from my hand or grave. So I like normally something from my graveyard, because I will have it in the grave anyway. Obviously, Shadow Squad has an activates effect to become level 7. Don't really need that. And then now I'm going to go into... now, you could do this also. Because you search the Abyss Shrine, you could send it to the graveyard of Shadow Squad and then have the additional ability to draw 2 cards next turn on for your opponent's turn. So let's just showcase it for this part of the combo, because you did search it early in the turn. But obviously, we're not going to go into a rank 7 Xyz play here. We're going to go in now into the Link 4. Okay. And that pretty much is the end of the combo. So you're probably thinking, okay, but now you went through all of that just to make this kind of mediocre board. Well, remember, like I said, the plays are not really for going first. It's more about the ability going second. So if someone tells you, okay, but now is this deck viable? I mean, yes, it is viable, because remember, Marinesis is fine turn 1. This is just an additional end piece to the turn 1 board. So turn 1 is not really where the problem is. The issue is, how do you play through boards going second? I think that's what's really where the deck shines. So I'm just showing you a combo for turn 1, but obviously I showed you replays also turn 2, how it actually works. And I actually show you that now later on, how that actually works. So this is a standard turn 1 end board, but the only addition now is you have Neptuvus. How did you get to Neptuvus? You basically use other bodies to get there. Now, let's say you get negated at some point or whatever. The main thing is you have enough material to make a Link 4 plus wave. That's what I'm trying to get at. Because even if you get disrupted by all the other things, you've probably eaten a lot of hand traps from your opponent, and you've made a mediocre board, but you're still able to make a Link 4 at least. And that's like the main thing. So this is pretty much what the end board is going to be, because you're going to have Abyss Shrine that will draw a card. You're going to have Bubble Reef that will also draw a card. And also the nice thing is Neptubus will trigger if you discard a water monster, and you can now equip the spell, the Mizuchi that you didn't search earlier, or you can add back the Triana from the graveyard if you want to. But that's only for the next turn. But for the opponent's turn, you can set the spell again, the Mizuchi, and then you're good to go. So you have wave, you have potentially hand traps that you still have, and you possibly have a spell effect negate off the Mizuchi if you do decide to equip it, if you're going to run it. So that's pretty much what the turn 1 end board now has. Additional layers of interruption, as much as, okay, now I have to deal with this card on top of this card being also kind of really good, and also to be unaffected because of wave. So if they deal with it, you get a follow-up next turn adding an Atlantean, and again, it pushes you for going second or turn 3. Very, very good. So I think the grind game becomes infinitely better now, because it was really decent, but now we actually have more explosive plays. So don't be surprised when you just blow your opponent out completely, because if you can't deal with this somewhat half decent board, then that's it, because that's what Marinesis is known for, right? Make a decent board-ish, have 1 or 2 disruptions, next turn we kill them. That's how it works. So like I said, turn 1 is not really where this deck is really shining for me. It's more about what it does turn 2, and turn 2 is just amazing. So that's why I showed you those replays earlier, and I do recommend go watching back the stream and looking at those replays, looking at the videos that I posted, and seeing exactly how this deck does going second, because I think that's where people are going to underestimate how good this deck does. Because just like how, if you want a comparison, think of Snake Eye Fire King. What makes it so good versus Snake Eye Fiendsmith? Well, I would say they are similar decks, but Snake Eye Fiendsmith is more of a control, hand trap heavy deck, you know, but it's not as explosive compared to Snake Eye Fire King, because we all know how good the Fire King cards are. The Fire King cards are very explosive, and it makes a control deck more explosive. So that's what Marinesis does, and Mermail. Mermail gives Marinesis the more explosive power going second. So that's how I see the synergy between the two. So you can think of it as you must, but pretty much this is what the ideal end board would be now, as an additional way for, you know, especially for going first. You can beat Nibiru or other potential hand traps. You can play through hand traps quite well, and especially going second, you can actually do a lot of things. Now, obviously, I don't have specific combos for going second because obviously going second depends on what the board is. So like I said, that's why I have the replays lined up to show you exactly how going second is. And then you'll see for yourself, oh, okay, you actually can trigger this, you can trigger that, you know? So that's why I have the replays lined up so I can show you exactly how the deck does going second, because I think that's where the deck shines. Because I think people know by now how good Marincess is by default, but you don't really know how good it is going second, because yes, going second, it can play, but if you lose to normal summon, you're done. Now you can't really set it anymore, because if you open a certain hand, you actually have somewhat of a chance to break a good board, you know? So I think that's really one of the reasons why I like this version. Not necessarily because of its abilities going first, but more of its abilities going second and beyond. Because while you are breaking boards, you're also still comboing, you're still getting your follow-up. And that pretty much aligns with what I like to do. Because everyone knows how my playstyle is. If you see me on my past streams or my past videos, you've seen the way I play. It's not like how normal people will play. You want to make sure, okay, you have good enough, and you're able to break boards, you're able to have follow-up, you're able to, you know, have decent interactions with your opponent, and that's pretty much what you are trying to do. Because we don't want to sit there combo for 20 minutes and then now you have no out, then it's like, oh, okay, normal summon is done and that's all. Then you have no choice but to surrender. But now you actually have a bit of a chance, because now the Atlantean cards are putting pressure on your opponent, because if you negate that stuff, you are opening up your normal summon to be free. Then you're good to go, like, oh, you still have place? Oh, okay, great. So that's why I like it. So again, this is the basic. You definitely check out the streams, check out the videos, and see exactly how, you know, the other lines you can do. But if you do want me to do a dedicated video just showing you all the possible combos, maybe a spreadsheet of sorts, just saying, okay, look, if you open this and this is combo, this and this is full combo, like, and I'll show you exactly how it does and the sequencing, then you can definitely let me know by leaving a like on this video, and you can definitely expect that to come your way. Because ultimately, if you want to see it, I don't mind showing it to you. I don't know why people want to sell you stuff or whatever. I feel like you should be able to show the stuff. If the guys want to know how the deck works, how it functions, you should be able to give them all the resources. I mean, I understand, yes, people want to make money off it by spreadsheets and doing it behind the paywall, fine, but I mean, that's what we do as content creators, right? So if you're doing it for content, then yeah. But I feel like it's for me, I like Yu-Gi-Oh! I like how these decks are played, and if I can show you some combos that are quite unique, then I don't mind sharing with you guys, because already the videos are there for you to show and have reference points for whatever you need to do. So if you do want me to see those detailed combos, by all means, leave a like and I'll prepare them for you, no problem. But otherwise, you can check out on my streams and obviously on the YouTube videos that I upload. So this is just, again, a mini showcase of what the engine does. Literally, if you trigger Dragoons in any way, form or fashion, that's pretty much what the end line you're going to come up with. Now, if you want to see what it does going second, and again, stay tuned for the streams and upcoming videos, because then you'll see exactly what's going to happen. So this is Diamond Boss signing out, and I'll see you on the next video. Cheers. Okay, that is that video done. So, okay. So, like I told you guys, for those that are still here, because you've obviously seen this live, so you want to obviously absorb as much as you can. This is, like I said, the basic engine, okay? Not taking into account anything. Literally, you can even use, like, I'll literally show you a crazy combo like this. This is literally just with Abyss Pike and Shadow Squad, literally just that. And you can still get the same board. Same thing, but the sequencing is different. So if you open, let's say, Abyss Pike and you have Shadow Squad, what do? Abyss Pike wants to summon, you know, but obviously from the deck, but if you have it from the hand also, that's fine. Discard Shadow Squad, you still do the same thing. You add COs, okay? And like I said, because you are triggering your Shadow Squad, you're summoning a monster from the deck. So now you can summon another Abyss Pike, but you already activated the effect already. That's why I summoned Abyss Time. Abyss Time, triggered effect because it was by a Mermail monster. Reborn the Shadow Squad, and now look what you have. You have 3 bodies on field, and now you can do the full combo again. Because what's the main play? It's gonna go into Link 2, Crystal Heart. Seals is gonna go into the zone, and gonna keep going from there. It's like it's literally the same thing. Literally the same thing. So it's more about how do you get there. Once you get to that point, you just carry on as per normal. So the nice thing about this is, if you get disrupted at some point, you go core an enemy because you have 3 bodies on field, spirit summons fields, and you still do your Marissa's combo. So your Marissa's combo doesn't really change. It's just now there's different ways to get there. That's the nice thing about it. So even if you open no Marissa's cards, you can still get there. So it's pretty cool. So I'll let you finish off the combo, but it's basically the same thing. Literally the same thing. The sequencing doesn't really change, because once you get to that point of, okay, I have 3 bodies on field, and I have a way to summon a Marince's monster from hand or grave to the Crystal Heart, then I'm pretty much GG. So it's not like, okay, we're doing some insane board of negates or whatever. No, because that would just be unfair, obviously. But they did balance the deck in the sense of, if you activate Shadow Squad, you can't summon everything but water monsters, which is totally fine, because that's what we wanted. So it's totally fine. And you're probably thinking, do we lose to things like D-Barrier and those things? No, because your main deck is still pretty much Link monsters. You just have, you know, one Synchro monster, one Xyz monster, and then Neptubus King is a Link. It doesn't really affect you. It really doesn't. Combo is exactly the same. Literally the same. Remember that this is just 2 cards, by the way. Literally just 2 cards. If you obviously have other extenders, like I said, you can even do more things if you want to, but this is just the bare minimum. Because obviously we're saying the bare minimum in case you get hand trapped and whatnot, but this is exactly fine. This is the same end board that you'll end up with at a minimum. Like, if you don't get disrupted, this is what your end board is. But if you do get disrupted, you're still gonna have access to Link 4 regardless, because you can just use the Neptubus and whatever monster you have on field left to make the Link 4, and you'll still have access to your Link 4. So this doesn't have to be on the field all the time. It can just be on the field with like another monster, then you can still go into Link 4 with your other extenders and whatnot. So what I actually want to show you is also a combo through draw, which I think people want to know. How do you play around draw? So let's say you have let's say you just have Neptubus, right? Let's say you have Neptubus. Neptubus is obviously the 1 card combo basically. So let's say you think they have draw. So let's assume they have draw. So your first search obviously going to be triggering Shadow Squad. Adding Dragoons is a mistake. You're actually going to add a Bush Shrine, because that will help you play around draw if you think that they have draw. But obviously we don't know how Masterduel is going to be playing around that stuff, so we'll just have to see how it's going to be. But a Bush Shrine is your best play to play around draw. Okay, so let's say now we're under draw now, right? Remember, you can't add anything. That's why you have a Bush down in the deck. Okay, so look at that. Look what you can do under draw still. You can do this. Like I said, even if you're under draw, you can still make a Link 4. The only thing I have access to is core triangle, and that's it. But that's all. You still have a Link 4. Right? You can add a card back, but you don't need to add a card back. That's it. So this is under draw, but remember, you can actually use a Bush Shrine, pitch another Mermail or Atlantean in your hand, and summon another body on field to make core an enemy. So you still have core triangle, and you still have a Link 4, but without wave. So actually, let me show you that combo again. But now, actually, let's say you have a Mermail in your hand also that you want to use off a Bush Shrine to summon from the deck, right? Let me show you that combo also. So again, assuming you get drawled, because your first search was Shadow Squad, you sent, you added a Bush Shrine. This helps you play around draw. Okay, cool. You activate Shadow Squad, they trigger draw. Now you can't add any more cards. Cool. You go Abyss Dying, summon from the graveyard, and you do this exact same play. Okay. And you can go for an enemy. Now the sequencing is up to you, but I like to do it like this. So here, at this point, before you go into a Link 4, use Abyss Shrine. Let's say you have a Mermail in your hand. Let's say you have a Abyss Pike, or let's say another Tejas that you don't really need. Get rid of it. Now the Rummy Atlantean, it will ask you under draw, or if you're not under draw, add to a hand or special summon. But if you're under draw, you can only special summon. So you summon. Okay? Then you go. Use these two, go into core triangle. Okay, add back a card. If you want to add back a card, don't really need to. Now remember, you're under draw, so you can't search. Right? You can't search. But let's say you're not under draw, you can still search here. So that I'm saying, one Netibus Prince can still give you full Marincess combo, even if you don't have Marincess monsters. How insane is that? The only thing you don't have is a Link 1. So no Link 1s, but you still have access to Wave and a Link 4. That's one Neptibus. So assuming you're not under draw, you can still search Wave and everything. But let's say you don't have ability to search Wave. There it is. You still have a Link 4, and you actually technically have follow-up, because if you have a Link 1 and it gets destroyed, then boom, Core Triangle is live again. Then you still combo from there. So it even plays well under draw. Still. So for those who think, okay, do we lose to draw? I mean, not really. Because you see, that's why if you run Abyss Dying, you don't lose to draw. If you don't play Abyss Dying, you hard lose to draw completely. Because at that point, you're only summoning 2 bodies. And then what do you do with those 2 bodies? Nothing much. Because you can't even make a Link 3. You can make Mermail King, but that's not really viable because you need to have something else with it. You can't just make this Link 3 and pass. So that's why I say I prefer this, having this card in the deck, because this card helps you beat draw. And also it also helps you going second. And also even going first, because if you add the card by effect from deck or grave by a card effect, you can summon it on the field. So again, another body on the field. But the downside with this card is you can only use 1 effect per turn, only once that turn. So you're either summoning from the hand, or you're summoning a body from the graveyard. That's it. So, like I said, those are the combos that you can do on the draw. So it's really not like super crazy or anything. But like I said, one Neptibus can still give you Link 4 plus Wave without any Marincess Link 1s. That's still pretty insane though. So, because definitely you will have another card in hand to discard for water. So, yeah, not the bad thing at all. So, that's pretty much the engine in demonstration. But like I said, the power play is more in going first. Is more in going second, not going first. So I will show you a replay now where the guy makes a crazy end board, and I'll still able to pull it off going second. So we'll take a breather now. I'm just gonna go grab water, and then we're gonna go to that replay, and I'll show you exactly how that works. right. We are back now. Okay. Are you guys enjoying the stream so far? Is it making sense now, or you still want to see a bit more? Maybe the replays will help you a bit to understand how this deck actually works. Like I said, I'm not really worried about how strong it is going first, because going first is just, okay, cool, now we have another extra layer to our combo. But going second is where I think it really does shine here. So I'm gonna, let me see. There it is. Snake Eye Centurion Fiendsmith. Yep. You heard that right. And we're going second here. So notice, look at our opening hand. Foolish Bureau Goods, Mandarin, Deep Sea Diva, Dragoons, and Abysteus. If you're going second, you're rejoicing, because why? This is pretty much breaking your board completely. And remember, you still have Deep Sea Diva, you still have Foolish Bureau Goods as well. So again, you have more ways to interrupt with your bait into hand traps. There's also bait hand traps, and remember, your normal summon will be protected. Now, let's see what this guy was on. Like I said, this is a Snake Eye Centurion Fiendsmith deck. So it's pretty much what you'll be seeing in Master Duel, pretty much. So let's see what this guy does. So he uses the Millennium Engine. Again, nothing unusual, because this is happening in Master Duel already. So, okay. As the Golem. And then this is the same regular combo you've seen so many times. Wait, you saying this is a normal Master Duel? What's up with that interface? Yeah, it's not, remember, this is not Master Duel, guys. This is a simulator of Master Duel. So it's not Master Duel, because the cards aren't in the game yet. So this is a way to kind of emulate what Master Duel looks like with all the new cards. Even the cards that haven't been released yet, I'm able to play the cards early before it comes out in the real Master Duel game. So this is just like a simulator. So it looks like Master Duel, but it is not actually Master Duel. But it's actually really nice, because I get to show you guys stuff that comes up beforehand. So it still gives you the feel of, okay, it's like Master Duel, so it's like you're watching it, but it's not really Master Duel. I think it's still pretty cool though. So yeah, let's continue on. Time to try and test some builds. Yeah, we're gonna be doing that. Yeah, definitely. Okay, so they use Zombie Vampire. They milled 4 cards. So you see the Dominus Impulse, Blue Tang, Neptibus, Field Spell. Okay, that's fine. They milled quite a bit. You can see they milled the Phalanx, Centurion, the Oath, and I think the Flamebirch. But the Flamebirch won't trigger because there's only one level 1. So he decided to reborn the Popular with the Zombie Vampire. So is this looking like a crazy board, right? Oh no, he's not done. We'll see. You and your opponent have so many cards. Look how tall both your decks are. Yeah, mine is 60 cards. He's playing about 45-ish cards, I think. Yeah, it is stacked. Okay, Snake Eye Ash. Get Oak. I mean, this is literally like regular combo that you will see, and this is what probably you'll be seeing in Master Duel, right? So, and of course, where do we go? Yep, Fiendsmith. He wasn't done. I'm like, oh really? You still have more plays? Yeah. And guess what he summons, guys? Requiem summons the new card, Lacrima, the Crimson Tears. So this is literally what's going to happen in Master Duel. So you're seeing basically a glimpse of what's going to be happening in Master Duel. This is pretty much the same thing you're going to be seeing. Fiendsmith combo now going to go into Lacrima, the Crimson Tears. Crimson Tears is going to be sending the Engraver. Engraver is going to be returning back a card, summoning. So it's really standard. Yep. Sequence. Gonna fuse. Lacrima, yep. He makes a full material. Apollo USA, yep. Apollo USA, you're like, damn, okay. How did he do that? But yeah, it's really interesting. Gonna burn me for damage. Look at that. Now he's only normal summon after all of that. He's now normal summon after all of that. That's insane. How crazy is that? That's how broken the Millennium engine is, as well as the Fiendsmith engine, because you can do all of these plays without committing to your normal summon. Where do you see that? That's insane. Because obviously I had no interruptions. So it's like, this is what happens. You can see that the logic is the same for all the other decks, right? They obviously want to make sure that their normal summon or whatever main plays are protected. So you bait out everything else, and you're like, okay, cool, now I can do my actual plays now. So now that's what we can do now, because before we couldn't do that. So I was like, oh, okay, Centurion, cool. Like, this is literally card for card what you'll see in Mastery. Yeah, only missing Drill Beam, yeah. Only Drill Beam is missing. So I'll show you what the end board is after all of this. Promethean Princess, look at that. He's still not done. He's still making more interruptions now. Still making more. Centurion engine is done. Now I'm wrapping up with my Snake Eye engine still. So Snake Eye, Centurion, Millennium, Fiendsmith, still going. Yep. The Phalanx to Reborn the Exila. Yep. End phase. So let's look at the interruption that he has. He has 4 negates on Apollo. He obviously has Promethean Princess, but you'll see something else, don't worry. He also has follow-up with Centurion cards, and look what we draw for turn, a Seahorse, and you're like, oh, okay, like what is this? This is literally nothing, right? This hand here is gonna break this entire board, literally the entire board, and you're like, what? This is just engine, literally just engine. No board breakers. Only board breakers will be in archetype engine, that's all. So let's see. Obviously, when you use First Bearer Goods first, you'll trigger your stuff. So obviously the play here is to get a Kaiju, so you can deal with this Apollo, because this will be a problem. Yeah. So you get Ice Bearer in the graveyard. Now the Atri is going to trigger to draw a card. And guess what card he draws? You're going to see now. He also gets to Synchro. So before he does anything, I'm going to make access to Ice Barrier. I'm going to search a Kaiju. Okay. Now, he kind of made a mistake here. Now, normally a Kaiju requires a tribute from your opponent's monster. All he had to do was not summon anymore. Then I couldn't Kaiju, because remember, there's no empty monster zone. So because he synchro summons, there's going to be an empty zone. So now I can use the Kaiju on the Apollo. So that was his first mistake. He goes Conan Dragon, okay, it's fine, and draws a card. Okay, he has to add back the Gargoyle, fine. The bro opens Max C, bro. Off the Atri draw, he gets Max C out back. What? That's actually insane, though. So the question is, can I play through a Max C? You're gonna find out now. Kaiju, Crimson Dragon, Cosmic Blazar Dragon. Also, you're like, what? Cosmic Blazar? Okay, cool. So you trade out the Apollo, but now there's a Cosmic Blazar as well. and there's a Maxi, which potentially joins to other hand traps, and there's still Promethean Princess engraved. That's quite a bit of disruptions, right? Let's see. Abysseus Dragoons. He doesn't activate. That's fine. Dragoons will trigger Chain Link 1, Teos Chain Link 2. Activates Promethean. Bro, this is perfect because you see, we don't care. We haven't normal summon yet. Just like similar to him, he made a crazy end board. We did normal summon. That's it. So this is baiting out Promethean. Perfect. Okay. There we go. Add Shadow Squad. Add Poseidon. Because like I said, the combo is different when you're going second. When you're going first, you can make whatever. It's pretty much the same linear combo going first, but going second, it literally depends what your end board is of the opponent. And literally, this is what you're going to be doing. Getting access to Poseidon early to help you play through the board. So, trigger Poseidon, discard Shadow Squad. Guess what he's going to do? He's going to negate with Cosmic Blazer. Do we actually care about that? No, we don't, because you've baited out a disruption. Okay, cool. We're like, oh no, now our turn is over. No. What did I say before? You negated Poseidon, but what also did you not forget about? You forgot about Shadow Squad. Does he have more disruptions? Remember, he opened Maxi also. So I don't know what he has. Let's see. Okay, no Ash. Abyssine. 2 bodies on field. Okay, now I normal summon now. Now I normal summon. Deep Sea Diva. Atlantean Prince. No Ash. Okay, now I check for Ash. I check for Veiler. Because obviously Emperor not useful here. I check for Veiler. What am I doing here? Shadow Squad is going to discard a card to make all our monsters become level 7. Discard Mandarin because Mandarin can summon from the grave. So again, and now you're going to make the Dragon Lord. Okay, remember, he starts. He's under. I'm under Maxi, and I'm pretty much just playing into Max. You could have Nibiru. You could have anything else. Now I make the Dragon Lord, and guess what? Look what I just sent. I discarded 2, which was Shadow Squad and the Abyssine, and I sent a Tidal. So Tidal is a very good tech in this deck because, oh wow, it does a lot. It's level 7, and it does a lot for the deck. So now I've triggered this, and what's going to happen? 1, 2, 3. Bounce all 3 cards. Now obviously a cool play is a Kaiju. It bounces cards to my hand, so obviously it's my Kaiju, so it comes to my hand. And I can use to board break again. And now I can send Atlantean, because remember, I didn't use Atlantean Prince's effect yet. So I can discard, I can send Inventory for cost, add Abyss Shrine. Now you trigger the Inventory to pop a face-up card. Send up Centurion. Now why did I destroy the Promethean? I'm playing around Nibiru because obviously while Promethean's on the field, I'm locked into he's locked into fire monsters. So I'm helping to play around Nibiru. So I added Abyss Shrine. Now I'm triggering Abyss Shrine. Abyss Shrine to trigger the Neptibus. We all know what Neptibus does, right? When this card is tributed for Water Monster's effect or activated to send a Water Monster's effect, you can target an Atlantean monster in your grave. Special summon it. You can add Ron Adrian. And you can go Atlantean. Remember the effect of Cosmic Blazer? He only negated my summoning activation, not my secondary effect. So he only negated the ability to summon itself from the hand, but did not negate the ability to send a card back. So now guess what? 4,000 life points. Spend this card back, and guess what? This is lethal damage already. Boom. That's it. Battle phase. That's it. The board he had before, completely gone. Maxi, I don't know what cards he drew. Didn't really help him, but this is lethal damage. Obviously, lethal damage because he obviously used Millennium cards. This is lethal. So here's the problem. Let's see what happens. The replay's over. So what happened? The connection, remember the glitch of the connection disconnecting? The timer was going down, so I couldn't quit the game, and then only to find out that the timer was going down, so then the time just went up. But I literally had game at that point. It was like 10 seconds left, but it just went low and low and low, and then I couldn't even reset it. And then that's it. So now I got the loss for that. But then I did speak to the opponent after. We said, no, it's fine. I did get the win because it was a 2 out of 3. So it was a win. Because obviously the game recorded it as a loss. So I was like, oh, okay, whatever. That's interesting. But look at that. We played through all of that and still pushed lethal. And remember, we didn't even use any Marincis cards, yes. But we just used the Mermail cards only. And look how powerful that does. It literally broke through the entire board. So I don't think there's anything that does that before. I think most cards at best spin 2 cards or what, but that spin literally everything. We spent 4 cards. We spent 3 cards with the Dragon Lord, and also we did the same thing with the Poseidon Rumbling Atlantean. So that's 4 spin backs, and we also destroyed a card, and we also played through Disruption also. Cosmic Blazer, Promethean Princess. We obviously had the Kaiju for the Apollo. So we played through about 5 things. Not bad. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. So I think it's a really good showcase, because that's pretty much what the deck is like in Master Duel. That's what a turn 1 is for this guy. And we were able to play right through that. And that obviously was lethal damage on the spot. So that's just showing you what you know, the ability of going second is for this Mermail engine. It really does give the deck a push. I mean, you can look at this deck list. This was what the guy was playing. This is kind of a similar list you'll see in Master Duel. The only difference is obviously you can see Engraver is at 1 here, but obviously Engraver is at 2 in Master Duel. So obviously this was a OCG format here. So obviously OCG Engraver is at 1. But the fact that, you know, even with that, you'll still have to make a crazy board. I think it's pretty impressive. You know, we're able to play through all of that. So, could he have played better? Sure. But I think we were just slightly better, I guess. Because, again, I think because he didn't expect what was going to happen. So he's like, no, it's fine. I'll just negate whatever I see. And then hopefully he has nothing. But I literally had a lot of plays. Without even any hand traps per se, just using natural engine to break boards. And that's what I was saying. The ability to break boards with your engine is what you want. So, you know, that's what Fire King does. They also use their engine to break their boards, so it's exactly the same thing. So yeah, I think that was a really good showcase. I think I have another replay for you guys to show you. Let me just see if I find it. Yeah, you see, I was literally playing like all these other decks, Dragon Tail and all that stuff. Pretty good. Even Lunar Knight. Lunar Knight got that new support. Just fine also. Oh, let me show you the evil hero stuff. Let me show you the evil heroes. Let me show you the heroes. So, with the evil hero stuff, there was a mixture of Primite and other things. So you'll see the decks are playing whatever. I'm just showing you what the evil hero stuff does, obviously. But I think this was with Sharks, I think. From looking at the list here. Yeah, this was with Sharks, I think. This is Primite Sharks, by the way. I think so. Is this with Mermail, I think? I think so. Or maybe it's not. I can't remember. There's a lot of replays here that I have. Because most of these replays are like months ago, so I just saved it, but I don't know what it actually relates to. But yeah, Shark can also benefit from the Mermail package. I'll be showcasing today on the next stream. But for now, this is just, you know, a bit of showcase of what the new cards do. So this is also Evil Heroes, showing a bit of what they can do. But yeah, this is Primite Sharks, what we have in Master Duel right now, against the deck that's going to be coming out on Friday. So it's a bit of a showcase to show how broken this deck is still. The interruptions we can make and all that stuff. So I mean, let me skip this up and see how far we can go. Yeah, look at that. We literally have Phonomic Seas, we have Drill Beam because we have the Salmon, and we have the Virtue Stream to pop the card on the field. Like, we have a lot of disruptions. You obviously max Seas, which is fine. Evil Assault is a new card. Where it discards a card, take a level 4 or lower evil hero, add it to hand or summon it. So it's like Abyss Shrine, but it's obviously a normal spell. And you are locked into heroes. Yeah. The Doom Prison, another good hero card. So what does this do? You can send one hero monster from your deck to the graveyard. Then this turn, if this face-up card uses the material for a fusion of a hero monster, you can substitute this card for any material that mentions that card. So it can become an Elemental Hero Neros. It can become literally anything that mentions the card on the fusion material. So actually a really cool card to run actually in heroes in general. Obviously gonna pop that card. He has DPE. I'm gonna Drill Beam that, obviously. And that's it. So he literally is good because, yeah, literally know how to play. So obviously it wasn't much, but yeah, obviously this is Prime Match Shops at the moment, and then this is Evil Heroes. I think I have another game with Evil Heroes. I'm just gonna check. I think it was this one. Was this with Sharks though? This is Sharks again. Let me find the other ones that were with Mermail. Let me have a look. Oh yeah, these ones. These ones. Yeah, let's look at these. Because those ones were just with Prime Match Shops. Let me show you the one with Mermail. Ah yes, there it is. So you see, open no Mermail cards. But again, it's still Marensis plays. You still go from there. Ooh. Now we know heroes, they love adding cards a lot. So obviously Droll is a good target here. He obviously has Call by the Grave, which is fine. It's unfortunate, but they would have ended their turn right there and there. So, yeah. The Ferris, discard. I obviously have Maxi. So obviously going to chain Maxi to it because he used the Call by and the Droll. So, didn't play around that. So now I think I'll be drawing into my engine pieces. Oh no, you actually won't do anything more. Okay, cool. So you notice, I open no Mermail cards. So what does that mean? You just do the normal plays that you're doing before. So okay, I got Droplet. At evenly match, obviously his board is pretty insane. So obviously I'm going second. I'm gonna go obviously trying to put evenly match. Droplet negate because I don't want you having a body on field. And yeah. I will use evenly match and then I'll have full combo from there. Yep. And the beauty thing about Light Stage, I can pin down whatever this is. With Super Poly, Imperm, Call by, before a monster commander on field, I can pin this down and still do combo. I can search and pin down a card. So Light Stage is still good. And now I can reveal what that card is. Because he's pretty much like in a losing situation at this point. Because I have so much advantage already. Oh, look at that. It's Droplet. So this card was Droplet. So Droplet can't be used here because I've pinned it down. So he would have wanted to discard this, but at this point, the game is pretty much okay. So let's speed up here. I mean, you've seen it so many times. Literally go normal combo. That's why a lot of people are not running Light Stage, but for me, I like it because it's a very good toolbox, especially for going second, pinning down Spell and Trap, where you know for a fact they're going to deal with you. So it can technically deal with Drill Beam, but obviously they activate beforehand, and that's also fine, but that's okay. It baits on Interruption at least, so I'm not complaining at all. Yeah. And you're probably thinking, what happens to the droplet now because next turn you can use it? Well, unfortunately, life stage says during the end phase, you must activate it or it will be sent to the graveyard. So even if he activates it, it's not going to matter because I've already used all the effects already. So you'll just send it away because it's not going to be relevant on his turn. So yeah. Cool. Okay, now this was a mistake here. What you should have done, you should have now so what happens here with this card? It's not a on special summon or normal summon, it's an ignition effect, so you have to summon this card and then you can activate the effect. So if you negate it beforehand, it doesn't get the bonus ability, but you can still send a hero monster though, which they did that, but at that point it's not going to really matter because I already negated the effect already to become a Neos or a Shadow Mist or whatever. But yeah, that's just a interesting food for thought there. So it's an ignition effect, not a trigger effect. Yeah, let's see what they do. Okay. Zero, 5, perfect, yeah. I mean, standard heroes, but just a bit of extra plays you can do now because of the evil hero stuff. So, I mean, it only locks into heroes, but you can summon like pretty much every hero you want. So it's the same thing, obviously, but yeah, it's alright. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so here's the fun part. So you see here, the Neos Lord is getting summoned because Dark Fusion is obviously being used. So it's Elementary Neros and a one effect monster on the field. So obviously it was Neos in the hand and one effect monster on the field. So it's technically a super party target in a way. And actually it has a pretty broken effect actually, because it cannot be controlled by battle or card effects. And if it is summoned or a monster sent to your opponent's graveyard, so you're on your opponent's turn, while it's cards on the field, you can target a face-up monster your opponent controls, take control of it. So you tried to do that, but obviously I was unaffected. So, yep, that's why I like Wave, because you see now this would have been a problem because this is permanently taken control of, and yeah, would have been a problem. So obviously you realize, okay, there's no hope there, so he decided to scoop. Yeah. I think I have one more game of that. Let me just check here. Yeah, different hero player, but same thing. Yeah, so this time around, you see again, we open no Mermail stuff, but it's just Marince's plays. Yeah, and one hand trap. So you're probably wondering, how consistent are you supposed to be seeing your cards? Well, that's whether you see the Mermail cards or you see the Marince's cards, you just play it out, basically. You don't like depend on seeing the same cards every single time. No. So you just play it out normally. So we're going second here. And obviously here we have to negate obviously the Vion or the increase. So we'll just see what we're gonna do here. Yeah, this is a good negate. Very good negate here. Because this will stop them from adding polymerization through the Vion. So they have to go other ways. Ooh, Toxic Bubble, that's a new one. Okay. And that's it, yeah. And he's cool because obviously he, I think, messed up his line somewhere, and then that was it. So, yeah, that was Heroes. Unfortunately, yeah, it wasn't anything amazing, but yeah, that's it. Let me see another replay I can show you guys just before, like maybe I have some other stuff here, but is this? Oh, this is Draco Tail. Hold on. Let me check something. Yeah, I think this is. Yeah, let me show you that because you're probably wondering what's happening in the future. Like I'm literally playing decks from the future. So yeah, let's show you Draco Tails. Our hand is literally bad. The only thing good that we have here is Dominus Impulse, and guess what? This deck loses Dominus Impulse. I'll show you where. This card here, the Femena, this card here is like the best card for them because this can, on the opponent's turn, discard this card, fusion summon a dragon or fusion spellcaster from your extra deck as an effect special summon. So guess what? Dominus Impulse is the one you must use for this because it's on your opponent's turn. You must use this. That's all you need to know. They have other cards, the K2 and the Rahu Dragon Tail. That's fine. Cool. So you see, Dragon Tail don't set up much. It's rather on your opponent's turn that they do all their plays. So I know that I can either use Call by the Grave or I can use Dominus Impulse. Let's go draw for turn. I don't draw anything amazing. It's Rinse's Wave, but I can still do some sort of combo here. So let's go Piscalis, which is not ideal all the time, but what choice do you have? Go see Angel here. He tries to Ghost Mariner. I'm like, okay, let me just call by that. So this is why he wanted to use this first, because obviously he wants to make sure that the Femena is not going to be called by. Unfortunately for him, I got Dominus Impulse, so I'm like, nope, no summoning for you. Okay. And does it have anything else? Doesn't have anything else, and he just scoops. So that's what I'm saying. This is like in the future, like Masterduel probably like next year sometime. We're probably gonna get Dragon Tail, or Draco Tail, but it's still literally relevant. Even like the deck is still relevant even then. So don't be surprised when you're still seeing this deck still be viable in that format, because obviously he's still there. And remember, like I told you, even against Ryzio, even against Malice, it's still good. So I've literally been playing this, like I said, in the OCG and TCG formats since it came out, and it's literally been no issue. Anything that comes out, we play it and we go from there. So all in all, it's actually very fun to play. Let me just see. I think we're done with that. So now let's show you guys the initial list that I was working with. And not going to be the final list, but again, it's different variants that I'm testing. So let's see. Let's search for, where is it? Yeah. So if you look at this, this is the list I was working with. That for most of those replays that you saw, this was the list I was working with. So obviously this is like obviously because of OCG and TCG format, but obviously in Masters is going to be slightly different. So for example, Dominus Impulse won't be run at 2, I think. It can definitely be something else. So you can obviously pick and choose what you want there, but this is pretty much the working list that I have as like version 1. You will see the ratios, like I said before, are, as I explained before in the engine showcase, exactly how the ratios work. Your Marine's core is still the same. You're still running 3 Blue Tang, 2 Basilima, 2 Aqua Angel, 3 COs because you need to run 3, 2 Spring Girl. You might be questioning why 2 Spring Girl, because remember, this isn't really a normal summon, it's more like an extender. So you rather see more of your guaranteed starters like Blue Tang and Seahorse over Pascalis and Springrow. Same thing with Basilima and Trickstar Archangel. You rather see them not in multiples, so 2 is fine. And obviously Mandarin, just for the sake of the combo to be there. But if you're not playing Mandarin, you can take it out. I would say you can cut Pascalis to 1. You can do that if you want to, but it doesn't change much. Then your, like I said, your Atlantean lineup is what I explained earlier. 2 Poseidra, 3 Dragoons, 1 Pike, 2 Abyss Teus. You could argue running 1 Teus and probably 3 Poseidra. That's up to you. 1 Kaiju, Small World Bridge, and also ability to break boards. Searchable by Ice Barrier, searchable by Channeler, and yeah, good ways to your deck. Then 1 Abyss Shrine, like I said. 1 Minstrel, 2 Shadow Squad, 1 Deep Sea Diva. This could be a 3rd Neptibus if you want to. 1 Infantry, 2 Neptibus Prince, 1 Mizuchi, 1 Trainer, and Dominus Impulse. Now in the extra deck, this is where the changes are going to be. So you're still going to have 2 Sea Angel, 2 Blue Slug, 1 Crystal Heart, 2 Core Enemy, 1 Core Triangle. Remember, King Neptibus is the new edition, 1 copy, 1 Morbid Rock, 1 Argonaut, 1 World Sea Dragon Zelantis, 1 Bubble Reef, 1 Dragon Lord, and 1 Gumia. So you're probably wondering why am I running 1 Zelantis in this build? Like I said, because we have the ability to recycle, and also most of the time, since you now have more toolboxes to break boards, we don't have to sort of rely on Zelantis as often. So it's more like a last resort. But like I said, Gumia is a card you can cut, and then you can throw in, you know, a second Zelantis if you want to. But in all my testing, I didn't feel like I needed the second one because I was really going into it. Because before, you're always going into Zelantis quite often, but now you have other ways to break boards now. So it's actually a lot easier to be more flexible in your extra deck now. So you can cut your not cut, but you can still keep 1 Zelantis because most people are already having 1 already in the extra deck. So it's actually fine. And then if you want to run a second Zelantis, then you can definitely cut out Gumia if you were playing Gumia before. But basically you need to run the Mermail King Neptibus to make everything come together. And obviously as a board breaking tool, this also comes up. So this and Zelantis are basically the same thing. So yeah, that's the flex spots. Then these cards are just in here for randomness. Don't worry about the side deck options. But the main deck, again, the other tech choices I'm running, like I said, I'm running 1 area because you'll see Small World is here, but sometimes this is like a better Small World. So I'm running 1 area, and we know this is a UR, so you only need 1, you don't need more than 1. I'm running Tidal because Tidal also triggers Dragoons, because you can send this card and 1 Water Monster by sending a monster from deck to grave, which is whatever. But the main thing is you're triggering Dragoons, and then from there you're going. From there you're triggering your Shadow Squad, you're triggering your Atlanteans. That's why you're really having Tidal, and also it's a good extender as well. If you have it in the graveyard, banish 2 orders, summon it on the field. It's a level 7, so it's very good, and it's also got high attack. So it is something you can definitely consider. Someone asked, do you want to run the Steam package? So Steam is the card that is the baby version of Tidal. You could run it, but I think it's more viable in the pure build. Like I said, you want to see more of your Marinesis cards more than anything, but of course if you do open up other cards, it's totally fine. You just have to play around and see what ratios you want to work with. That's basically what I've come up with. So it's really up to you guys what you want to think about it and make of it. So really you can pick and choose how your ratios are. But like I said, I've pretty much kept the deck list as clean as possible, but at the same time, you don't really have a lot of room for like hand traps and those things, which is fine, because remember, this deck is mainly just thriving off in-engine breaking boards. So you do have Maxi, you do have Full Loss, you do have an Ash, you do have Call By, Cross Out, Dark Ruler, just to help you a little bit play into boards, and obviously Dominus Impulse. But like I said, the deck naturally will play into boards, so that's why you can actually afford to cut a lot of the other hand traps. Now, obviously, this is an early version of the build. Now, obviously, tomorrow I will show you the other versions that I was also playing that can also give you an option, which way one is more of a hybrid of hand traps, board breakers, and still have kind of the core engine still of the Mermail Atlantean stuff, and still Marincius, but then the ratios are slightly adjusted, as well as the extra deck as well. So again, this is what I've been doing for most of my replays, and obviously this was like months ago now. So of course, in Master Duel, the formats obviously changed from a few months ago to now. So yeah, that's basically what you'll see the changes when I show you guys that deck profile, with that coming up soon. But until then, this is again the working list, and like I said, it's been working out for me. There's literally been no issues. And as I showed you guys in the replays, the main thing of this deck is that it thrives going second. Going first is going first. It will do what it needs to do. But going second and having good follow-up and grind game is what is going to make this deck like up there. I'm not saying it's going to be tier 0 or anything like that, but it will be a threat. So yeah, you'll definitely see it. So what's going to be the plan now? So tomorrow, the next stream, we're going to be doing the other showcase of the other decks, like Mermail Atlantean Sharks, as well as Pure Mermail, what list I've been working with there. And those ones are literally just going to be just focusing on what the benefits are in those decks. And then we're going to go into we'll try go into some online play, just to try out the different versions of the Mermail Atlantean Marincius decks, and then we'll wrap it up from there. And obviously we'll wait for the pack release on Friday, then we'll do a stream on that, see what's in there, and we'll play the rank ladder, of course, and then we'll see how the meta fares with Marincius now with upgraded engine pieces, because definitely it's going to be crazy to see what's happening. But yeah, I'm really excited for it, because I've probably never been this excited for a pack in a long time, because I think it's been a long time coming. But I think a lot of people are not having the same excitement as me, which is fine, because no one's really cared about what this deck can do. But I always thought it had potential, and it's only a matter of time where it will get there. I think this is probably again the ceiling, but I do think over time it will get better, because the meta, as long as it's right now, like all these crazy decks, this is probably the version that can keep up with everything else. Because the decks before were fine, but we had to open like a specific hand to deal with it, and they had to not open well, like a half board. So like I saw with that Snake Eye Centurion Fiendsman player, he had pretty much a full board, and he drew into Maxi, and he still didn't win the game. So it's like crazy. We didn't even use any Marincius cards. We just used the Mermail cards, just to show you how broken it is. So don't underestimate how capable this deck is going second, because it's actually gonna surprise you a lot. And if you didn't catch on it soon enough, then you'll definitely see how it's gonna be when we play it in Master Duel. So we'll definitely do a lot of play testing. But like I said, I did show a lot of replays, so that kind of showed in a way how the deck plays. We also did a bit of hand tests. We'll do a bit more, and then also I think it will give you time now to go back, think about what I've said today. If you have any follow-up questions, maybe other tech choices you want to run, any other questions regarding the deck itself, any other tech cards you want to throw in, then you can definitely reserve that for the next stream. But obviously, just stay tuned for the videos that I will post. Obviously, if you were on the stream, you did see most of it. But obviously, for those that were not able to, you can obviously look at it as a dedicated source for reference. Just a bit of an introduction to how this how these cards will influence the way you play water decks in general. So I mean, definitely for me, it's not a new thing for me. I've been playing this thing for months. Just that now it's in Master Duel now, so finally being able to showcase all this content is quite good. So yeah, it's like I said, I've replays for days. Like I'm not even kidding. I have like replays for like I have so many replays. Obviously I can't put all of it in one go, so I have to space it out, but definitely over time it will come through. But now I think it's a really good example of how, you know, these decks function. So other than that, I think we can wrap it up from here. I'm not sure if there's anything else that someone wants to maybe ask in the chat or not, but I think we can wrap it up. Like I said, I hope you did enjoy the stream. Hopefully you got to, you know, see most of the replays. If we didn't, I urge watching it back. Maybe for this specific stream I might put timestamps so that people can actually see as a reference point of what exactly I was doing at each point in the stream. And then obviously the videos itself will come out, so like just that dedicated part. So maybe if we missed it, but specifically for the replays, just to see how the deck functions. And yeah, I think that's pretty much what we'll do for today. But yeah, I do appreciate everyone for sticking around. And yeah, our time has finally come. We can finally enjoy our phase. I mean, Snake Eyes enjoyed it, White Forest enjoyed, Sharks obviously enjoyed. Now Fiendsmith is going to enjoy it, and obviously we're also going to enjoy, and also hero players too. So we're gonna have our time to shine also, and I think it's an exciting time. So stay tuned, because you're gonna be probably sick and tired of hearing me saying it, but yeah, this is gonna be pretty good in this upcoming format. I'm really confident that this will do well, and I'm not, like I said, I'm not coping or anything. It's literally gonna be doing well, because especially like you guys have seen how I've been playing the deck without any crazy stuff. Now imagine I'm playing with crazy stuff a little bit. It's gonna be just insane. I mean, turn 1 is kind of okay, but turn 2 is just like crazy, because now I have more options, I have more toolboxes, and that's what I was kind of looking for, and now I found it. Let me know what you guys think. Do like the stream, and do like the videos when I post them, when they come out. And yeah, like I said, just keep your questions reserved if you have anything for the follow-up stream. And yeah, I think we're gonna end it here. We'll hopefully go into some online, but knowing recently the online's been kind of messed up these days, so that's why I luckily had all these replays saved up, because I knew, okay, if and when it comes out, then at least I have replays lined up, so I don't have to now go into games and hopefully get a good one and the connection fails or whatever. So hopefully you do appreciate the replays. And yeah, this is the feature showcase of Mermail Atlantean coming to Master Duel, and what it will do for all the existing decks that I've been playing, and obviously the pure form itself I'll explain obviously in the next stream, and what deck I was running. So yeah, do make sure to like, follow, all that good stuff. And yeah, I do appreciate you guys being here. But yeah, this will be me signing out. So I wish you guys a good night, a good day, and we'll see you in the next stream. Cheers everyone.